Mobile on the most reliable 5G network. Most reliable based on route metrics. U.S. report results vary, not an endorsement. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword info 42 to 866-482-9559. That's info 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Scattered showers break up for the afternoon, cloudy with drizzle, a high of 59. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, quiet and cool, a low of 44. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
53 and cloudy again, some spotty rain on radar. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 20th. It is 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. You made it through another week. Yes, Rob?
Well, before we begin this show today, can I just make an editorial comment?
Please.
So, I was looking at our template this morning, and when I do the show, there's like 2 stories in each little segment.
Yeah.
Because, well, I know I'm going to ramble incoherently for a while, and we'll fill the time, and it'll be great. When Casey does the template, which was today, there's 93 stories in every segment. I literally got through The Great Gatsby faster than I got through our first segment on today's show.
Yeah, I can always tell the difference.
Yeah, Kevin could definitely tell the difference. You know why I did that? Because you were at a wedding yesterday, and I didn't know what sort of shape you were going to show up in today.
Casey, I am here to perform, as I am every single day. I am the Cal Ripken of talk radio.
You know what I was doing? I just wanted you to have a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
You know, you could say, no, I don't want to talk about this. Let's skip that and move on to something else.
No, you do so much more work than I do when you put the show together.
Say that again louder, and let me get the attention of all of our bosses.
It's really great.
Let's talk about Jim Jordan. So we've all made it to Friday. Hope you're having a great week. Here's a guy who's probably not having that best of a week, right? All of his besties are saying, we don't like you.
I was talking with someone yesterday about this, and they said, well, who do you want to be speaker? And I said, any person who wants to be speaker, I don't want to be speaker. And what I mean by that is, if you desperately want to be Speaker of the House of Representatives right now, you are going to have to say so many things to so many people, because the Republican Party is so fractured. Like, you have, the divide here is this. The divide is the establishment wing of the party who simply does not care about debt. They do not care about deficits. They do not care about federal spending. They do not care about the growth of government. They do not care about the harm that it is having on you in your daily life. And it is business as usual. And then you have the crowd who says, this is out of control. Inflation is out of control. People can't afford houses. I had a fascinating conversation last night at the wedding with a lender that we'll have to talk about later. You think it's bad now? Get ready, Bal.
Yikes.
And we get to that later. But that it's look at all of the things that are going on and saying, we must fix this. We have the ability to fix it. We must do this. And it starts with the person calling the shots. There's no way right now, if you want this position, to be able to mend these two groups together. It doesn't, and you, Casey, you know above all else. There are many things that I just dread. But having to come on these airwaves, and look, few people listen. We're told nobody listens. Sometimes I think it's maybe literally just you and me having a conversation. But whether it's, one, like people say, or maybe 10,000, like, other data might show, however many people are listening, being right is my least favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And I've said this for several weeks now, that the ultimate solution in terms of solving this issue, if you actually desire to solve the issue, is going to have to come from outside the House of Representatives. Someone who does not want the job, who somehow, and I don't know how this even would work, that everybody can agree on because they don't have a track record of being offensive or saying offensive things, but is committed to getting the spending under control, is willing to shut the government down. I realize like I'm describing a unicorn right now, but I am telling you right now that the person inside the House of Representatives simply does not exist, that I believe can mold these people together. And so I believe the most likely outcome, because the Republicans are traitors and they are backstabbers, and they would, as I've said for many, many years, rather work with the Democrats and conservatives, is a group of these Republicans joining with Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay, so he did get more votes than Jim Jordan, just not enough to become Speaker. And several of the original 8 House Republicans who voted to oust Kevin McCarthy, they said they still have no regrets about this move. What are we on? We're on day 17, 16, 17?
So was it Wednesday? Wasn't it a Wednesday? So Wednesday would have been 2 weeks. Is that right? So, yeah, you're right.
And you've got people like John Rutherford from Florida. He's saying that Jordan needs to know that there's no way forward for a speakership. However, he has said that he's still running. And then the plan to give McHenry more power, that fell through. Jim Banks, he said, not going to extend the Speaker of the House power to McHenry.
Let's talk about Jimbo for a minute, shall we? Okay.
Sure.
So people like Jim Banks are the reason we're in the position we're in. And I heard him yesterday going home on Tony's radio show. Now, of course, Jimbo will never come on our show because he doesn't want to deal with any of this. Jimbo does not want to answer the questions about why he voted for Kevin McCarthy 15 times and why he voted to save Kevin McCarthy, and about Kevin McCarthy lying to the American people, and why Jim had such terrible judgment that he voted for a guy 15 times who lied repeatedly to the American people. But Jim yesterday told Tony he was lamenting the fact that they got rid of Kevin McCarthy. And he was essentially saying, well, this was such a terrible idea and this was awful and there was no plan to do this or that. So what Jim Banks is saying is that it doesn't matter what the guy does in office. It doesn't matter if he lies to the American people. It doesn't matter if he doesn't follow through on his promises to get spending under control. It doesn't matter if he cuts deals with Biden, which are in direct defiance of what he promised to do. To Jim Banks, unless you have a white knight to come riding in, you must sit there and eat whatever crap the Republican establishment is going to serve to you. Let me also tell you how ridiculous this whole thing is. Greg Pence. You may remember him from the disastrous Keel Brothers Oil Company. And his reward for sticking the taxpayers with millions of dollars of environmental cleanup and a local bank not getting their money back was he got to be in Congress.
Sure.
He was on the news yesterday. I think it was Wish TV, and then they're our news gathering partner, so we were playing it. And he essentially was saying, it doesn't matter what happens in the conference. I'm going to vote for whoever gets out of that conference. What if they're not very good? It doesn't matter. I'm a Republican Party team player, and whether it's Kevin McCarthy or Jim Jordan, I have so little morals or scruples or backbone or guidepost by which my vote matters upon that whoever gets out of this conference, doesn't matter what I vote for in the conference or if the guy's good or bad. This is what I'm talking. It doesn't matter. This is why I'm fine with the government being shut down, Casey. It doesn't matter. You've got Greg Pence admitting, I guess if Al Capone made it out of the conference, then he would vote for Al Capone. That's insane.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Jim Jordan says that he's still running. Round 3 of voting is going to happen today at 10 a.m.
At this moment,
so I'll just say this: we made the pitch to members on the resolution as a way to lower the temperature and get back to work. We decided that wasn't where we're going to go. I'm still running for speaker, and I plan to go to the floor and get the votes and win this race. But I want to go talk with a few of my colleagues. Particularly, I want to talk with the 20 individuals who voted against me so that we can move forward and begin to work for the American people.
Are you going to the floor today, sir? Are you going to the floor?
So by talk with colleagues, he means make some concessions.
Well, right. And he gave this bizarre, I think that was part, I don't know if this was part of it or not. He gave a press conference this morning. Was that the one this morning or last night?
No, that was last night.
So he gave a press conference this morning, and Tony played part of it. It was this, like, very bizarre, rambling. I mean, there was no like, I'm having a press conference because, boom. There was just no, it was like, I guess I need to go out here and say something. And so he was like weaving in and out of all sorts of references, and
he was holding a napkin, and steely-eyed reporters zoomed in on it, and there was a question handwritten on the napkin that said, "What is the real reason?" He's going to try and get to the bottom of that.
Well, look, again, somebody inside the House right now, I don't think can get the votes in the Republican caucus. So you've got. And I'm going to guess, okay, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to give this a week, Casey. Mm-hmm. If by Friday this is not resolved, I think you will see a group of Republicans, maybe sooner, move to Hakeem Jeffries because, and when this happens, will I be able to take a victory lap around Monument Circle? Because I've been saying this and saying this and saying this, and their votes, time after time after time, prove it. But I think it will be the vote. This vote may be the thing where maybe I can just scale the monument itself and fly the victory flag. I mean, I'm not going to spray paint it like the noble protesters did during 2020. I'll just go up to the top. Well, what would be the worst thing to happen? I might get a meet and greet with the governor. Maybe he'll let me write part of an influential bill that tells law enforcement what to do. That when these Republicans join with Hakeem Jeffries, because right now the idea that they're going outside the House is not likely. The most likely outcome is Republicans will team with the Democrats to pick a Democrat-endorsed speaker. Will then we now finally be able to say, there is no difference, these people all hate you equally, and you should throw every single one of them out.
It is 17 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and Kevin McCarthy and Matt Gaetz got into a fight. We're going to talk about that. And also, your president was on TV last night. How did he do? Big show. Stick around. It's 93 WIBC.
We feel.
Do you feel like we do? Feel it as soon as you step out the door.
What you feel.
Bundle up. Feels like winter.
It's going to be more like summertime.
Do you feel like we do?
All the feels.
It feels a little like winter.
Feels more like summer.
Of fall.
It's kind of the clash of two seasons.
Weather. When you need it.
The ebbs and flows this time of the year is so evident.
On your official fall weather station. 93 WIBC.
After our investigation on Indianapolis Animal Care Services aired, our viewers asked us to dive deeper into animal welfare. Fox 59's Angela Ganote went searching for that answer.
Viewers and volunteers are frustrated that a proposed new animal care facility has not been built. Too many cats and dogs are being euthanized.
They don't focus enough on adoptions. They don't focus enough on rescues. And they just put whatever energy that they have into euthanizing dogs.
What we have today, from an animal care services standpoint, is simply shameful.
If Joe Hogsett was a good mayor, we'd have the new animal shelter he announced. Instead, an empty lot. If he cared, he'd have done the job after the cameras left. If Joe Hogsett was up to the job, whistleblowers' calls would have been answered. Instead, euthanasia. Joe Hogsett's had 8 years as mayor. You know about the crime and the roads and the overdoses. But it turns out Joe's failed them, too. It's time for a change.
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
Good morning, it's Casey, and as you're going in and out of the house all weekend long, make sure you look down when you're in the garage. You know, Galaxy Concrete Coating can make that space so much better. When they do that custom floor coating, it's easy to clean and it looks great too. Talk about improving a very large space in your entire house. They'll help you do it. Their number, 317-751-9070. 317-751-9070. They're also online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. Check them out today.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
Morgan & Morgan is not only America's largest injury law firm, we're also the only injury law firm in the world with lawyers licensed in all 50 states. With dedicated attorneys focused on personal injury, medical malpractice, insurance disputes, car crashes, employee rights, and many others, we have a 30-year track record of getting results for clients just like you. So wherever you are, whatever you need, our firm is ready to take your call. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
When your health is complicated, it's important that your health insurance is not. That's why CareSource offers affordable marketplace plans with a premium network that helps you stay healthy. In addition to doctor visits, emergency services, hospital care, and prescription benefits, we also provide dependable coverage for chronic conditions like diabetes, too. To learn more about our marketplace health plans, visit caresource.com/marketplace. CareSource, we got you.
After a car wreck, it can feel like you're living in a horror show.
Don't let the insurance company make you feel like you're living in a bad, scary movie. I'm attorney Daryl Isaacs. Just click to get help quick at WeWin.com.
Happy Halloween from the Hammer. Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains. In business since 1961 for a reason.
Find out why at bplusw.com. B&W is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
Dale Griffith, how the hell are you?
Well, I'm still $1 million shy of being a millionaire.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 22 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Jim Jordan, he lost GOP support in his second consecutive failed vote for House Speaker. And this comes after, of course, Kevin McCarthy is blaming Matt Gaetz for all of his failures. There's like this little childish, petulant fight going on between these two.
And the fight is, I mean, just, to be clear to everybody, Kevin McCarthy did not uphold the promises he made in order to secure the speakership. It is like, and I'm trying to think of an example in the workplace. If you're steal a line from Animal House, if you're on double secret probation and your boss tells you, okay, you're gonna stay employed here, but the moment you do the next time, I have the right to remove you from this employment. Do you understand? Yes, absolutely. So you still want to keep working here? Yes. You understand that the terms of the employment are this? Yes, absolutely. And then you go do the thing.
And have a toga party?
Yeah. And then you're told, and your boss says, okay, hey, that's it. The last chance, we warned you. These mechanisms were in place. Everybody was in agreement. You're out of here. Well, what do you mean? And the Republicans are behaving like this, these establishment Republicans, because lying is in their DNA. They've gotten away with it for so long that their word means nothing to them. And that's why it's disgusting to hear people like Jim Banks go on Tony's show and lament as though Matt Gaetz is the bad guy for holding Kevin McCarthy accountable to the terms of his employment. It tells you everything you need to know. When you couple in how hard Jim Banks is fighting to keep John Rust from running for public office against him, and how much he is still, in a sickening fashion, lamenting the end of Kevin McCarthy, boy, if somehow John Rust gets on the ballot next year, that should give you real pause about voting for Jim Banks, because he is more concerned that the guy got held to accountability of the terms of his employment. Mm-hmm. He is more concerned that somebody held him to account than what the guy actually did.
Yeah.
If Kevin McCarthy had held the spending in check, if Kevin McCarthy had been willing to shut the government down, He'd still be the speaker.
Right. We wouldn't be dealing with any of this.
Yes.
Okay, so Jordan got 199 votes and Hakeem Jeffries got 212 votes. All of the House Democrats were united in voting for the minority leader. And apparently behind closed doors, there was a bit of a brouhaha.
Oh.
Yeah. So Kevin McCarthy was telling Matt Gaetz to sit down. Kevin McCarthy saying that Matt Gaetz was trying to interrupt him, and here's his side of the story.
Oh, no. I was at the mic, I was speaking, and Matt Gaetz tried to interrupt, and so I told him to sit down, and we sat down.
What's your deal?
I No, I told him to sit down. I think the entire conference screamed at him. People are, listen, the whole country, I think, would scream at Matt Gaetz right now. Oh. Remember, it was a crazy eights led by Matt Gaetz and every single Democrat that put us into this situation. We've never been in this situation before, but how do you have 4% of your conference remove a speaker when 96% are there? This is why we're here. He had no plan afterwards. Now we have Israel at a war, questions whether Congress can act, questions where we'd be able to go to select a new speaker. I mean, it's a difficult situation driven by one person for his own personal beliefs, his own animosity towards me, and his concern about what's inside an ethics complaint that was filed before I was even speaker.
Okay, time out. Casey, we need to go to a break because I'm going to need more than the 1 minute I think I've still got left here to...
You have some thoughts?
Well,
no one expected this to be pretty.
Don't you love that he is such Billy Badass with Matt Gaetz, but yet he rolled over and played dead with Joe Biden? Again, these people keep telling you who they are. Listen to them. If you are a conservative, stop voting for Republicans. If you are a conservative, stop voting across the board for these Republicans. They do not like you. Kevin McCarthy is more mad at Matt Gaetz for holding him to the deal that he made than he is Joe Biden, whose spending is driving people to the poorhouse. We got to take a break because I'm going to get going. And once I get going, I'm not going to stop. And then Kurt Darling's going to yell at me for being late to the news. Stick around.
And you want to talk about spending? Oh, boy, we've got some big numbers. They all start with B, too. It's coming up from 93 WIBC.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
We've created something special here in Carmel. I'm Sue Finkham, and it's here where I built my business and started a family and served as a leader on City Council, helping our community prosper and increasing government transparency. Now, we're America's #1 rated city, but we're just getting started. Lots of people talk about keeping Carmel the best city in America. But me, I'm the only one with the plan and experience to do it. I'm Sue Finkham. It's simple. Prioritize public safety by hiring, training, and equipping our first responders. Introduce responsible budgeting so every cent spent benefits us. And ensure development doesn't endanger our community's one-of-a-kind character.
Sue Finkham, the only candidate with the experience and vision to keep Carmel the best city in America, partnering with police to keep our community safe, and ensuring responsible development to help our community thrive.
Together, let's keep Carmel on the path to success.
On November 7th, vote Sue Finkham for mayor.
Paid for by Sue Finkham Victory Committee.
Denny Smith for Sundown Gardens and Miss M's Home and Garden. The discounts for the big fall sale jumped to 30 to 40% off nursery stock, plus 20% off all fall annuals, pumpkins, and mums. Hurry in now while supplies last in the greenhouse. Container trees and shrubs can still be planted, and you save big money buying now. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield, sundown.gardens.com. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road, msmshomeandgarden.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Sticking with it, it's 53 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. He's not giving up. Fox's Ryan Schmelz on the latest when it comes to the race for Speaker of the House.
Congressman Jim Jordan says he's going to keep pushing to get enough votes to become Speaker. Jordan pressed by Fox News on if he's willing to go multiple rounds.
Well, you all said that we were going to lose between the first vote and the second vote. You all said we were going to lose 10 to 15 votes. We stayed the same. We picked up a few. We lost a few. I think the ones we lost can come back.
Jordan expects another vote today and says the plan for the weekend is to get a speaker elected as soon as possible. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
President Biden is calling for American support.
That's why tomorrow I'm going to send to Congress an urgent budget request to fund America's national security needs, to support our critical partners, including Israel and Ukraine.
In a primetime speech last night, Biden said support for the two nations at war is key to national security. The president plans to send a funding request to Congress today of about $100 billion in combined aid for Israel and Ukraine. Now the stock report in the red to start the day. The Dow was down 75 to 33,474. The Nasdaq down 44.5 to 14,845. And the S&P 500 is down 10 to 4,292. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Somebody that I believe is going to be your next senator from the great state of Indiana, which I love so much, Jim Banks.
This is Donald Trump Jr. with an important message. My father and I have both endorsed Jim Banks for the United States Senate. Jim is a pro-Trump conservative, a fighter, and one of President Trump's strongest warriors against the swamp. Jim served our nation overseas in Afghanistan and will always fight to put America first. He's been a leader on securing our border, standing up to China, and ending wokeism in the military. When President Trump is back in the White House, he's going to need proven warriors fighting for the America First agenda in the U.S. Senate. So please support our good friend Jim Banks. America Leadership PAC is responsible for the content of this message, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americanleadershippac.org.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 9:32. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Kevin McCarthy, the former Speaker of the House, when he was leaving the Speaker's office, he had a message for Jim Jordan, and he said, fight through it. Don't give up right away.
All right. So last segment, we played this audio, and I heard it, and I was doing the thing that I do where I start getting ready to
go off the rails.
Yes, thank
you.
Get
some high blood pressure.
And then I looked at the clock and I thought, Kurt Darling, because I don't even think, is it Kurt Darling doing the news today? He's getting married, I think, this weekend.
Yeah.
So he's probably is not Kurt Darling. Anyway, you know how those news people are. I mean, they're just like, they
want to be on time.
They can screw up your broadcast and, sorry about that. We're award winning. You go 2 seconds long. A letter is sent to our immediate supervisor about how they were inconvenienced. So I said, let's make sure we get out and then we'll come back and we'll because this Kevin McCarthy audio is just everything you need to know. And if you let these people talk long enough, they will tell you what they are. So Kevin McCarthy was addressing a
GOP conference.
Right.
He was talking to some people.
And Gaetz may or may not have stood up and had something to say, and then McCarthy told
him to sit down.
Yeah, all right. So here's McCarthy's description of what happened, and then we'll address this.
Oh, no. I was at the mic, I was speaking, and Matt Gaetz tried to interrupt, and so I told him to sit down, and we sat down.
What's your deal?
No, I told him to sit down. I think the entire conference screamed at him. People are, listen, the whole country, I think, would scream at Matt Gaetz right now. Remember, it was a crazy eights led by Matt Gaetz and every single Democrat that put us into this situation. We've never been in this situation before, but how do you have 4% of your conference remove a speaker when 96% are there?
Okay,
this is why we're here.
Okay, all right. So, first of all, in his mind, the promises I made to the American people, and this is how often do we tell you this about the Republicans? They mean absolutely nothing. Kevin McCarthy lost his speakership because he did not do what he promised. So first of all, there's that. He was held to account.
Yep.
Finally, nobody ever holds the Republicans to account for anything, but he was held to account. And in his mind, well, everyone's going to hate the guy that actually made me stand true to my word. And if you joined with him, well, you're a crazy person. If you are one of these people, these suckers who actually think your word matters in politics, well, you're a crazy person.
Right. You call them the crazy eights.
And I just love that, what do you say? We're in this position. No, we're in this position because of you. We're in this position not because of Matt Gaetz. We're in this position because you lied. Stop voting for these people. Stop voting for these Republicans. Make them. I heard Tony doing this morning, and I like Tony, and he's a very good broadcaster, but he was finger wagging at the audience today about having to vote for Jefferson Shreve. Well, it's better than Hogsett. By like 0.5%, maybe? We don't know. I cannot disagree with him more. And Hammer, I think, is in agreement with me on this topic now about rolling over and playing dead for whatever establishment Republican, the donor and lobbyist crowd throws at us. The Jefferson Shreve stuff is the same thing going on here. It's always, will, blah, blah, blah. And then they get in there and they don't. And they go, oh, what? You took us at our word on that? If the person is not going to do the stuff necessary to fix the problems, which there is not one solitary person who's being intellectually honest with you who thinks Jefferson Shreve has a single. He's running ads about the treatment of animals now, Casey.
Yeah.
There's not one person who believes in their core that Jefferson Shreve is the fighter necessary to fix Indianapolis. And his policies have been about how you, the law-abiding citizen, are the bad guy. I could not disagree with Tony more that you have to roll over and vote for these people because the other side is so bad. Same thing here. I could care less if it takes 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 year for this thing to get resolved. Because the government, the society will be better if there is no House of Representatives right now.
Well, at least they can't spend any more money. And that's exactly what Joe Biden is requesting Congress to do. These numbers are astonishing. $14 billion for Israel, $60 billion for Ukraine, $10 billion for general humanitarian aid, $7 billion for the Indo-Pacific, $100 million for Gaza, $14 billion to process illegals faster at the border. Your tax dollars at work right there.
And you watch, Casey. I told you, I said, I'll give this a week. It may be faster than a week. But there will be enough Republicans who are going to team up. Now, I'm not going to say Hakeem Jeffries will be the actual speaker, but there will be a deal struck between these liberal Republicans. I would say Republicans in name only, but I think these people actually represent the Republican Party. I think they're kind of the conservatives now are the Republicans in name only because the power structure of the Republicans are these big government liberals. It's true at the federal level. It's true at the state level. It's true at the local level. But they will team up with Jeffries. They will strike some sort of deal, and they will use Ukraine, and they will use.
Well, they already are. Kevin McCarthy was already saying that. Now we have Israel.
Yep.
We did not have Israel,
Right.
the situation in Israel when he was booted from the position.
Oh, Casey, you and your facts.
Now he's using it.
So look. The Republicans do not care about fixing issues. They do not care about solving problems. They do not care about you. They do not care about how expensive things are for you. They simply want the power. And these establishment Republicans, they don't care about the future of the country. They care about their own position. And if they view the ability to enhance their power or secure their power by striking a deal with Hakeem Jeffries, they will totally do it. No questions asked.
Okay, well, for a moment there, it appeared like North Carolina's Patrick McHenry would be elected as the temporary Speaker of the House, but that didn't happen either. And Matt Gaetz said he didn't favor giving McHenry temporary power, and he also mentioned that he doesn't like Bud Light.
I think that I'm against Speaker Light. I'm against Bud Light. I believe it is a constitutional desecration to not elect a Speaker of the House. We need to stay here until we elect a Speaker. And if someone can't get the votes, we need to go on to the next person. But twisting and torturing the Constitution to empower a temporary speaker is having a Speaker Light that is not constitutionally contemplated, is deeply infirm, and I will do everything possible to stop it.
Okay, so without a permanent Speaker of the House, they can't conduct business, they can't vote on resolutions, and that does include that money for Israel, and they're set to shut down on November 17th.
Oh, no.
Unless a spending deal
that'd
can
be terrible.
reached.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I know, you're really upset about this. Okay, so last night, Biden delivered a primetime foreign policy speech to the country, and one of the things he said was that Iran is supporting Hamas. Just a reminder, last month, Biden unlocked a $6 billion gift for Iran.
The risk of conflict and chaos could spread in other parts of the world, in the Indo-Pacific, in the Middle East, especially in the Middle East. Iran is supporting Russia in Ukraine, and is supporting Hamas and other terrorist groups in the region, and will continue to hold them accountable, I might add.
Did you watch him?
No. Why would I do that to myself?
At one point, I had it on the TV, and the dude was like, I can't. I can't. I have to walk away. And so he did. He walked away, and then I had it on the computer and on the TV, so it was double Biden. It was torturous.
Well,
but he failed to explain how 30 Americans were killed and more than a dozen were held hostage.
Well, and you made a great point here is that you just gave these people $6 billion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like something where you said, boy, Iran is an international sponsor of terrorism and violent, torturous regimes across the world. Boy, we didn't see that one coming. He knew what they were, and he gave them the $6 billion. The same way as you had any reasonably intelligent person, obviously that excludes Biden, would know that if we just packed up and left Afghanistan, the maniacs were going to take over, and all that equipment we left behind was going to end up in the hands of terrorists.
Yeah, weakness begets weakness. 9:42, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the situation in Israel. What are the tactics they're using, the U.S. is using, and can they work? We will break it down after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through November 15th, new customers can get 75 megabit internet on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $20 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service. Actual speeds vary.
Hellsberg Diamonds presents Great Wedding Speeches.
Put your hands together for the father of the bride.
Kara, honey. Boy, am I proud of the woman you've become. And Craig, my man, my brosa. When Kara first introduced us to Craig, boy, I knew he was the one right away. He tells the greatest jokes, he smokes a killer brisket, and he knows what team to root for, don't you, buddy? Whoop, whoop! So, when he proposed to Kara, with that awesome ring from Hellsberg Diamonds, boy, we couldn't say yes fast enough, could we, honey?
That's right.
Lab-grown diamond, emerald cut, big sparkle. It's a great ring, picked out by a great guy. He's like the son I've never had.
But Dad, I'm your son, Donnie.
Oh, right. Well, you're great, too. Johnny.
For over 100 years, Hellsberg Diamonds has been customizing engagement rings of the highest quality. To learn more about our great selection and transparent pricing, visit our experts at a Hellsberg store near you or at hellsberg.com.
Bring it in, Broheim.
Paid for by PolicyPaul.com.
Hello, this is Policy Paul. Here to answer your life insurance questions.
Policy Paul, I'm so glad I got you. Listen, I'm due any day now, and I've been pestering my husband to get us a life insurance policy to make sure our new family is protected.
That's smart.
I think so, but he says life insurance is too expensive, a hassle to get, and we don't need it yet. Can you help me?
Yes, of course. This is a very common situation. The thing your husband needs to understand is life insurance can actually be very affordable. Plus, really fast and easy to get. You could get up to $500,000 in coverage for less than $1 a day.
Really?
Yeah, plus same-day coverage and no medical exam.
I'm so glad I called you, Policy Paul.
Don't let your loved ones and their future go unprotected. Get up to $500,000 in life insurance for less than $1 a day. Plus, same-day coverage with no medical exam. Just call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com to get started today. Call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com. Don't wait. Call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com now.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baird Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning, 946. Kendall and Casey are on 93 WIBC. Yesterday, you went to a big shindig.
Yeah.
Some longtime friends of yours got married, and you got seated next to a lender.
Yeah, so one of the things they did, so there was a fairly, I say high profile, like you wouldn't know, our regular people in our audience wouldn't know this person's name, but inside the State House, he's pretty well known. And they're like, well, he's politics and Rob are politics. We should put these two guys together.
Put them at the table together.
And I know the guy, and he's been very nice to me, and the stuff he works with isn't really anything that I complain about on the regular. But it's like, anytime it's someone from the State House, it's like, well, can't be a drunk slob at this wedding. Got to be on my best behavior.
Do you go down a list of who can we talk about? Who do we both like? Who do we both not get along with?
It was fine. He's got young kids, and so we mostly talked about that. And then we talked a little bit about in the government. He knows what's going on, and he knows what is taking place in the State House, and he's there to do his job, but he's not like defending like, oh no, this is really great, these record budgets and record taxation. So we had a fine conversation. But the point was, it's like, well, if I've got to be sober and behave myself, I'm going to get to know all these people here who can do whatever they want at this wedding, because I can't do anything nice, Casey. And one of the guys was a lender for a very well-known multi-state lending institution. And so we started talking about
8% mortgage rate,
interest rates, and we were talking about, I said, hey, like, where does this end? What is the end game for this? And he said, unfortunately, I don't see this ending anytime soon, because there is just simply not enough inventory, and people will still find a way to get into a home somehow, even if financially it is far more crippling for them to go that way versus where they were, maybe a year ago if they had bought a house. Because he said the rent is becoming as equally ridiculous. It's not like, well, renting is so affordable now, and boy, these houses are just out of control.
Right, so if you're going to pay equitable amount of money, you might as well get some equity out of it.
Right. He said the interest rates rising because of the demand versus availability. And when we talk about demand versus availability, remember, and I think you had just started here, we were still having this conversation. If you're buying a $300,000 house for $375,000, but you were told at the time, yeah, but interest rates are so low that it's going to be lower than if you had bought it at $300,000 2 or 3 years ago, which in many cases, these sort of arguments were actually valid, right? Like an interest, conceivably, a $375,000 home at 2% is going to be a cheaper interest payment for you or monthly payment than if you had bought a $300,000 home at, say, 5.5%.
Right.
That's you weren't being lied to, but the reality then becomes when you try to move off of that property, you can't sell it for what you paid for it because you bought it on the premise of a low interest rate, or if you can, it's going to take you forever because you've got to find the people who can actually get financed to make these payments. Well, now you're locked into this property, which means there are not as many available properties. And so you have seen this vicious cycle where normally when interest rates rise, prices drop. But he said that is not happening.
Right, prices are not dropping right now.
And he said it is not happening for the foreseeable future. And in fact, he said he anticipates prices continuing to rise even as interest rates rise. Now, other part of this, which was interesting, his wife worked in insurance, like homeowners insurance. And of course, I've had
you had a big discussion about that, I'm sure.
And I've become very, very, very knowledgeable about insurance lately, Casey. And I was asking her about her side of this, and she said the problem then becomes as prices elevate and interest and the loan payments rise, it becomes harder to, one, get people approved for insurance, and two, the cost of the insurance is going up, which makes it harder for people to be able to afford to be insured the home.
Yeah.
And so it's like they essentially said, we're totally screwed and it's not getting better anytime soon.
Well, everybody keeps saying if you're going to buy a house, now is the time to do it because it's just not going to get any better.
Well, that's absolutely what he said. He said, if you're a person who is banking on, hey, because of these rising interest rates, it's going to stabilize the market and prices. No, it has cooled demand a little bit, it appears, in terms of just, hey, everybody's throwing themselves into the market. Here's the other thing that he told me, and this should scare the hell out of everyone. And we talked about this, I think you and I talked about this last year when we had first started looking at homes, or I think it was even before you got here. We were going, my wife, then girlfriend at the time, we were going to look at houses. And we would go to these houses, and you would go on a Saturday, and they would say, all offers are due by Monday.
Right.
And you'd say, wait a second, I'm not going to make you an offer. There was one house we looked at where there was literally moss growing out of the roof. And I said, I got to get that roof looked at. Nope, all offers are due Monday. There's no way I can get somebody out here by Monday. Well, then I guess you just can't make an offer because all offers are due.
Or you can, but you just got to risk it.
Well, right. And so what came out at the time was all of these mega corporations were buying these homes and then turning them into rental properties, which is why rent was skyrocketing.
Yep.
And what he was telling me now is happening is it's not so much mega corporations, but because the buying power in Indiana is so much greater than, say, a place like California, people who have California levels of disposable income are now buying homes in Indiana and using them as rentals. So it's no longer mega corporations, it's individuals who are, and they are keeping the prices higher because the interest rate doesn't really matter. If you're a person that has, say, I'm just making up a number here. If you've got $5 million cash on hand, which that may sound like a lot of money, it's really not that much anymore, especially if you live in a place like California. Your investment and what you can get for your money when you eliminate and extrapolate the interest payment, if you take that out of the equation, what you can turn around and rent that house out for is going to be a much better investment potentially than putting it in the stock market or some locked interest thing. And so he said these people are from other states are artificially driving the prices up.
Yeah, because they're looking for alternative investment options, and real estate is it. If you've got the cash to do it, what a great way to go. Now, Powell just came out, the Fed, and he said that inflation is still high. And does that mean that another hike is on the way?
But we have been talking about this for 2.5 years now, Casey. You cannot raise your way out of inflation alone. The government has to participate in stopping this just egregious level of spending. You cannot simply just raise interest rates and say, oh, it'll go away. Look at what you saw in the late 70s and early 80s. Interest rates were through the roof. Inflation was still sky high. There are a host of issues that go into inflation, and a primary driver of it is government spending and the government's printing of money. You realize, I saw a statistic, and I don't know if what is it? It's like 3 or 4 years. Within 3 or 4 years, our national debt will be
$40 trillion.
Yeah, over $40 trillion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hello, $14 billion for Israel, $60 billion for Ukraine, $10 billion for general humanitarian aid, $7 billion for Indo-Pacific, $100 million for Gaza, $14 billion for illegals at the border. I mean, we're talking billions.
So I just want to get on the record, Casey, that even though you did the template last night, I was still working on behalf of our show. And so I thought that
good information.
Well, I thought it was just a really just fascinating conversation from people who are in the know about this stuff, and they don't have any vested interest in spinning some sort of tale to me. So their word not getting any better anytime soon, and good luck, pal.
Hey, speaking of diversifying, I saw this story and I thought of you and your dad. If you're a fan and you can't afford the $12.6 million 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle baseball card, you can now buy shares of his boyhood home for $7.
$7?
Yeah.
That's in Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Commerce, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Commerce, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Hey, I guarantee your husband gets in on that. I guarantee. Hey, honey, I bought 7,000 shares of Mickey Mantle's childhood home.
I bought a fraction of a house in Oklahoma for $7. Mickey Mantle used to live there. Well, that sounds like a good investment. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Indianapolis. With Mayor Joe Hogsett, we've made real progress. Billions in new construction, unemployment at a historic low, 700 new police, $1.2 billion in new infrastructure, hundreds of new streetlights, and thousands of college scholarships. Now Joe Hogsett is fighting the state abortion ban and to get guns off the street. But Joe knows the work isn't done. It's why he's hiring even more police, expanding community policing, and investing in programs that help keep kids out of trouble. And Jefferson Shreve, he supports banning abortion. And after getting an A rating from the NRA, Jefferson Shreve has been against any new gun laws. Jefferson Shreve is bringing Trump-style politics to Indianapolis and trashing our city. Re-elect Mayor Joe Hogsett. Steady leadership in times of change.
Paid for by Hogsett for Indianapolis.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Indiana Foundation Service. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at indianafoundation.com.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S. Over 15 million this year alone. And many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Miss M's Home and Gardens discounts for the big fall sale jump to 30 to 40% off nursery stock, plus 20% off all fall annuals, pumpkins, and mumps. State Road 135 in Bargersville.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what happened on opposite sides of the city Thursday, plus why the Delphi murder case is back to square one, and a Greenwood cop is out of a job before the department has a chance to fire him. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios on 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Jim Jordan is still trying to be House Speaker. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We need to get to work for the American people.
So he hopes the third time's the charm after 2 failed attempts, with some fellow Republicans still opposing him.
We need to help Israel. We need to get the appropriations process moving so that the key elements of our government are funded and funded in the right way, particularly our military.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz reports from the Capitol.
Jordan expects another vote today and says the plan for the weekend is to get a speaker elected as soon as possible. The congressman has been meeting with many of the 22 Republicans who aren't supporting him and says they've had a, quote, good conversation.
And with all that going on, President Biden said,
We can't let petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way of our responsibilities as a great nation.
So he's calling on Congress to help our allies even more.
In Israel, we must make sure that they have what they need to protect their people today and always.
Well, the president's asking for $14 billion in aid to Israel, $60 billion for Ukraine to keep fighting Russia. Some Republicans oppose that, and Senator Tom Cotton tells Fox the president wasn't forceful enough warning Israel's enemies.
These attacks will continue, and Americans will die unless Joe Biden is perfectly clear that we will hold Iran directly responsible.
There have been anti-Israel, anti-American protests in the Middle East, including a big one today in Yemen. While in Iraq, more rocket and drone attacks targeted U.S. bases. No casualties reported today, but some Americans were injured Wednesday. As Israel's war against Hamas rages a 14th day, Fox's Trey Yingst is near the fighting.
Anticipation is growing around that expected Israeli ground offensive that could come in the next few hours or days. Right now, we're along the Israel-Gaza border, and we've been watching as the Israelis strike Gaza and more rocket fire continues into southern and central Israel.
They've named a suspect they're searching for in Maryland. In the murder of a judge last night, Andrew Wilkinson was shot in his own driveway. He had presided over the suspect's divorce case. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
One was a hit and run. It's cloudy and 53 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. 2 people hit by and killed by cars on opposite sides of the city overnight. They were within an hour of each other. The first was on the west side at just after 11 o'clock along Rockville Road between a girls' school and country club. The driver stayed at that scene. Then, not long after that, on the southeast side near Villa and Pleasant Run Parkway South Drive, a man was hit and killed by a car there, and the driver fled from that collision. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen needs a new legal team. His previous defenders resigned Thursday before a court hearing.
I'd like to set a new trial date. Obviously, I don't believe counsel will be prepared within the next couple of months to try a case of this magnitude in January.
Special Judge Fran Gull says Allen still needs a public defender. The hearing lasted less than 5 minutes. He's responsible for shooting a man dead 2 years ago. Donnie Burgess reports on the conviction of Tavon Macklin.
Surveillance video and cell phone data proves Tavon Macklin was there when Eugenio Roman was shot and killed in his car in February of 2021. Macklin and another person went through Roman's car and pockets before they ran off. Tavon Macklin will spend the next 58 years in prison and still faces charges in another murder case. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A cop in trouble with his employer in Greenwood has resigned. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Elijah Allen was one of 5 cops caught up in a messaging scandal. The officers were accused of sending homophobic, racial, and sexually explicit messages on department-issued equipment. Last week, Samuel Bowen lost his bid to keep his job, and in August, 3 other cops resigned. One of them, Zane Hennig, is now dead. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Winter will be a little warmer than usual this year.
There's a lot of things that can impact besides El Nino, but usually when it's this strong of one, it usually pans out.
Chad Swain with the National Weather Service. El Nino is an ocean phenomenon that results in warmer air moving in over the Midwest when it happens. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Electric vehicles are here to stay. And if you're looking for an electric vehicle, Andy Moore Ford is your EV headquarters. More selection. Get to Andy Moore Ford to shop the Mach-E, the E-Transit, the F-150 Lightning in stock, and more arriving daily. Save more at the pump when you switch to an Andy Moore Ford EV. Say hello to more rebates with federal and state incentives. You could save more. How's over $7,500 sound to you? But the benefits don't end there. Purchasing an EV with Andy Moore means you can take advantage of excellent services like more to your door, more peace of mind with over a decade of experience in selling and servicing electric vehicles. Andy Moore Ford's EV experts are here to answer all of your questions, from sales to service, parts to maintenance. Check out Andy Moore Ford. Find them in Plainfield at 2713 East Main Street, 2713 East Main Street. Andy Moore Ford. Andy Moore, M-O-H-R. AndyMooreFord.com. That's AndyMooreFord.com.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains? We'll find that American Standard air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 20th. It's 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So I'm sure you were glued to the TV last night. President Biden gave an address from the White House, from the Oval Office. He was providing an update on two different conflicts happening across the globe, including Israel's war with Hamas, also the Russian conflict in Ukraine. He vowed that America would not be on the sidelines of either conflict.
All right, so here's a serious question for you, Casey.
Yeah.
Given what is happening in the Congress, given the way the speaker debacle, then you couple that with the spending and the just ridiculous things that are done on a consistent basis in Washington. You look at the incoherent, bumbling buffoon that occupies the White House. You look at the shape of the country now. If you could take the people who founded the country, right? Like these, I'm not just talking about Washington and Jefferson and, the major players. I'm talking about, kind of the people who are at the core of fighting and then the aftermath of all the struggle to put the country together. And you said, this is what we will end up being. Would they have done it?
I think they would have done it.
If you could hold up Joe Biden and tell George Washington, this is what will become of what you have created, it would give you pause, right?
Yeah. I don't think that they would have believed that that's who the president of the country would be at this point.
Right, but that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You can tell them. You can show them. You can say, hey, here is the crystal ball, Mr. Washington or Mr. Adams or Mr. Jefferson. And here is what the country you have created will become. Was all the sacrifice that you made, was it worth it?
Yeah. Not with this guy in charge.
When you look at the growth of government and the intervention of government and the weaponization of law enforcement against private people and all the things that are happening in this country, I fear America is just becoming another place.
I think that they would have been pleased that the thought of democracy is trying to be delivered around the world. They would have liked that their democracy experiment has expanded globally.
But it's really, when you look at it, there are actually websites and organizations who track freedom of nation in terms of, and every one of them's kind of got a little bit of a different scale. But in terms of your ability as a free person, everybody thinks United States, land of the free and the home of the brave. United States is much less free than many, many, many other countries. Like they're like middle of the pack. Yes, we elect the people who do the stuff, but the system is so rigged now in favor of the people who get in, and they obviously, just look here again. we just saw another example of the vote being taken away from the people, where another, in this case, a woman, Cindy Carrasco, who had her ass handed to her last year in a different election.
And now she's going to be a senator.
And now she gets to be a senator.
Yeah.
And she walks in the back door. And this happens time and time and time again in this state, where the vote is taken away from the people. And if you look at the United States as a collective, we are not a very free nation anymore. We have a massive government nanny state. We have massive government intervention in almost every facet of our existence. We have complete buffoons running the show, corrupt, evil buffoons like Joe Biden and Menendez. And look, you know, I'm not picking on the Republicans. There's plenty on the Republican side too. It's a mess. The whole country's a mess. And I don't think we have the intestinal fortitude anymore to do what's necessary to fight back and stop it.
What's the answer?
Well,
that's a tough one, isn't it? What's the answer? Because I'm so sick of paying taxes on everything.
Yeah.
Every portion of my life, where I live, what I eat, the gas I put in my car to get to work, to pay for where I live and what I eat.
You know, and there are people, poll after poll shows that there are people who are in favor of splitting the country, and there are people who believe that the United States cannot be put back together. And, you know, there's the famous Jefferson quote about the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. I don't know anymore, Casey, because I'm not sure how you square Florida and California. I mean, I don't know how the existence in that place versus the existence in the other place, that's not the same country of living anymore. And when you look at the radicalization, I mean, you have people in the streets in America chanting for the death and destruction of Israel and Jews. What are you going to say to those people? How are you going to bring those people into the fold? And there is such a crisis of leadership. And so I had this conversation last night at the wedding I was at with the guy who is pretty well known in the State House. And we were talking about the people running for governor and how none of them really stand for anything. Like, with any of them, other than Suzanne Crouch, you have a statement that I'm going to end the income tax. Okay, how are you going to do that? Right. There is no, I mean, you have some people who have been running for governor for almost 2 years. And for any of them, there's nothing big coming out of these people. They all say there's problems.
Status quo.
And heck, in the case of Silent Suzanne and professional errand boy Brad Chambers, you got people who are subservient to Holcomb for years who are saying there's major problems with the state. And yet not one of them is offering you concrete plans, big ideas on how they're going to fix anything, because none of them want big ideas, because big ideas involve rattling cages of people who make money off the status quo.
And that's what Matt Gaetz has been doing, rattling cages. And, you know, you and I had that conversation, especially when Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said that we need to have a national divorce. And I was highly against that, because I feel like I'm very patriotic and I love this country. And I even said, no, we're not the separated states of America. We're not the on a break states of America. But now more and more, with the House of Representatives not having a speaker for the past 16, 17 days, how has my life changed?
It hasn't.
Right.
At all.
So
we were having that conversation last night about people have been led to believe that they need the government for some reason. And there are nuts and bolts of things that government does that regular people cannot do for themselves, that there is merit to saying we need government for. And that would be things like roads and bridges and sidewalks and public infrastructure, water, sewer, potentially, depending on how your city is structured, with other public utility being available or a private utility being available, public safety, law enforcement, fire department, EMS. Those are all things that you would say, okay, yes, I think we all should agree that our tax dollars going to that is a worthy cause. But that box is so small And yet the actual box of the government is so big, and there's such nonsensical bullcrap that is going on with our governments. Mm-hmm. And if you think it's just Washington, it's not. Think about the conversations that we are having in our own supposedly super Republican state right now. We're talking about Westfield has to sell Grand Park because it's failing financially. We've got the intellectual mega giants in Noblesville who are paying $36 million for the Simon family, who owns the Pacers, to have a minor league team play in that facility. Like 7 people go to minor league basketball games, Casey. I know, I announced minor league basketball for many years. I've been to the games. There's no way it's going to make money. They don't care. Fishers is building a hockey arena for the Indy Fuel. Hey, great, glad we have minor league hockey. Not the job of the government to be building stadiums for pro teams, much less minor league teams. And last night, the air quote public input session in Brownsburg, there was no return on investment available. There was no financial analysis available. None of it. You know why? Because it sucks. It is a giant stab in the back to the taxpayers, but these politicians have recognized there's so few people care, and even of the people who care, so few people actually get involved, that we can build monuments to ourselves that get us plaques on walls, and we believe the bright, shiny object will be the thing that catapults us to the next thing. We are in an absolute crisis of leadership in this country, and it starts at the very tippy top with the belligerent, dementia-ridden old fool in the White House, and it works its way all the way down to your town and city council members.
Yeah, well, when it comes to a federal level, you want to make sure that your government is taking care of national security. And Joe Biden has been, it started when he was so weak in Afghanistan and the withdrawal there, slow in Ukraine, pandering to Iran, just give them more money, be our friend, please. Completely absent from the border. And last night, while he was speaking, he was in the Oval Office addressing the nation. And while he was speaking, confirmation came that U.S. forces were attacked in Iraq. He didn't mention it. He didn't say anything about the hostages. He didn't say anything about Americans who were killed by Hamas. So where was the leadership there? Let's just play this one clip. Yep. And before we get into it, this is coming from the man who routinely smears and denigrates Republicans. Dark Brandon calls MAGA extremists, right? But when it's convenient for him, that's when he wants us all to come together.
I know we have our divisions at home. We have to get past them. We can't let petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way of our responsibilities as a great nation.
Oh.
The guy who's using the DOJ to go after his opponent.
Sure.
But we, us Americans, we can't let our petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way.
It sucks. It's like, great hot take there, Rob. I don't know. I just don't know how else to describe it. I don't know how else to say, no, you're missing the boat, Casey. No, you're spot on. And what the hell are we doing next? It's your day. You're in charge.
You know what? Let's move on to something. You want to talk about sports?
Sure.
Let's talk sports.
I love sports. Are we talking about Michigan when we come back?
We are.
Oh, my gosh. It's just always a mess with Jim Harbaugh, isn't it?
That nose picker's getting himself into trouble. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hey, it's JMV here with Lance Smith, owner of LD Smith Plumbing. And Lance, I keep running out of hot water in my house. What's going on?
Well, if you're running out of hot water too quick, either there's a problem with your existing water heater or it's undersized. A great solution for that is a tankless water heater. You could take a 24-hour shower, never run out of hot water. And right now we got a great promotion going, $300 off any tankless water heater.
That's a great deal, and I need an hour-long shower. That's the best. Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. LDSmithPlumbing.com.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste. Because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
CareSource Marketplace health plans are reliable and predictable. That's important because your life plans are not. CareSource gives you the affordable coverage and premium network to take on whatever comes your way. Emergency services, hospital care, prescriptions, and more. Our plans are simple and affordable because when your life is complicated, it's important that your health insurance is not. For affordable coverage when you need it most, visit caresource.com/marketplace. We got you.
Think you know what high energy feels like? Wait until you experience the 2023-24 Indiana Pacers. Or a driving right side, right baseline, two-hand slam. Indiana Pacers basketball is back, and we are ramped up. Here's a step back three.
Young fella, way to knock it down. It's opening night presented by Kroger on Wednesday, October 25th at 7, when the Pacers battle the Washington Wizards. Get your tickets at pacers.com/tickets.
There is still time to get a patio this season. Get on the books now for a patio this fall. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts, changing the way Indy thinks about concrete.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show.
Good morning, Vietnam!
On 93 WIBC.
Shake it up.
21 minutes after 10, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So let's talk about Jim Harbaugh. He denied any knowledge or involvement in plotting to steal opponents' play calling signals.
Okay, so Jim Harbaugh is the coach for Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
They're the number 2 team in the country. They made it to the Final Four last year that they made it to the NCAA Final Four in football. When we talk about sports on this show, we do it from a societal standpoint. There's plenty of other places you can hear sports talk, so you're not going to get deep dive analysis guy and girl here on this. But from a societal standpoint, this is interesting because the NCAA is stupid, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, and you'll appreciate this because you are a little more seasoned in radio than I am, so you will, I think, be able to confirm this. One of the major problems with radio is that instead of getting ahead of the train that was coming down the tracks, which was technology,
automation,
they decided to fight the technology and keep, because look, for 50, whatever, let's say from the late 1930s till about the early 2000s, radio had a dominant stranglehold on the medium by which people consumed, whether it was talk or music or whatever. Radio was a dominant driver. And then the internet became prevalent, and then everyone was home, and people started downloading things, and then obviously places like YouTube, et cetera, became, and it lost handle on it. Radio had an opportunity in the 90s and early 2000s when they knew technology was coming to say, look, all of these things in terms of downloads, satellite radio, we have this HD thing at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things are now in play. How do we get ahead of it so we keep people entrenched in still turning on their radio to consume what they wanted to consume? Radio fought amongst itself. It didn't get ahead of the curve. It kept, most of its time bickering over who would get what and how much of the spoils somebody would get. And largely, unless it's something like a WIBC where you can't get anywhere else, local talk, radio has really suffered because they didn't accept the path forward and say, how do we drive the train instead of get run over by it? NCAA is the same way. 15, 20 years ago, it became clear that rules governing student athletes were stupid, like where they could and could not work jobs, how they could or could not get paid, when their fellow students were getting paid. And they fought tooth and nail with ridiculous restrictions and how phone calls you could make and who could have a cheeseburger. And I mean, it's just all like, we all know the stories over the years. And so what happened finally is student athletes sued, other people sued, and courts looked at it and said, you know what? You're right. This is ridiculous that you can't, you have people who are, yes, you get a free education, but you're not being able to make money the same way your fellow students who are attending the college or et cetera. So now it's the Wild West.
You're talking about NIL.
Yeah, I'm talking about NIL. I'm talking about transfer rules. I mean, all of this stuff. I mean, the transfer rules, like you must sit out a year.
Yeah.
Stupid. But now you've got guys who transfer X amount of times and the portal opens and they're leaving here. It's ruining NIL, and the transfer stuff are ruining college athletics because you don't know, just like your pro sports team, from one year to the next, who's going to be on the team. This is another example of how the rules are stupid because Jim Harbaugh and Michigan are being accused. Okay, so you can watch a game, Casey, or you can watch film, and if you can pick anything up on the film, well, hey, that's fair game.
But you can't send representatives to the games. To look and see what their play calling signals are. They're big posters.
They're in trouble or potentially in trouble because the allegation is they sent Michigan football representatives to public stadiums, Casey. It's not like they were sneaking in at the practice facility. I don't know if you know, but if you went to a Michigan football game, there's 100,000 plus people at every game.
Yes.
But if you're a rep for a football team and you go, you can get in serious trouble. The NCAA is stupid. It is ridiculous. It is always behind the curve. And crap like this is why it is now, in many cases, unwatchable for people. And it is the Wild West that people are enjoying less than ever before because they, just like radio or the music industry, they choose to fight it versus get ahead of it and make rules that are common sense for everyone.
I used to respect the NCAA until they decided that biological males were allowed to play on women's teams, and that's where they lost me. But Harbaugh said that he has no awareness of anyone on his staff having done anything wrong or going to other games to try. I mean, you could see it. You could sit in your family room and pick up on the calls just by watching it on TV.
This is what I'm saying is it is just you need a total overhaul of the NCAA. It's not going to happen. And look, think about it. So let's bring this full circle on how stupid this all is. So Calvin Sampson was the head coach at IU after Mike Davis, who was the head coach after Bob Knight. So that's the lineage, right? Calvin Sampson was a really good coach, but the knock on Calvin Sampson is he kind of plays a little fast and loose with the rules. And he knew everybody was watching him super close when he came to IU and people objected to them hiring Calvin Sampson. Calvin Sampson did something, and I'm not going to do a deep dive on it because we got to get to a break, related to phone calls with players. And it was enough to get him axed out, and there were, I believe, penalties by the university, etc. The thing that he did that got him fired today is not a penalty today. It was so egregious that he was fired and IU was, I believe, hit with sanctions, etc. for his actions. Today is not a penalty at all.
Right.
So the NCAA was like, we have so little core guiding principles that at one point this was a fireable offense and you're out of here, buddy.
But it's okay now.
And now, hell, that's fine. What's that amongst? I mean, it's all stupid and it's ruined college athletics.
Okay, does Michigan State have a coach?
They have an interim coach.
They have an interim coach.
They have an interim coach, and the guy D'Antonio, is that his name, who was the coach for years, has come back as like an advisor interim coach because their coach had a little issue with having
inappropriate conversations with the human resources person. The DEI.
So they hired a woman to come in to talk to the players about sexual harassment,
right?
And he is accused of sexually harassing the woman.
The sexual harassment.
But there's all sorts of holes in this story that's come out now too, Casey. So,
well, the point is, Michigan plays Michigan State on Saturday. It's Big Brother versus Little Brother. Yeah. It is 10:28. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword info 42 to 866-482-9559. That's info 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Still trying. It's cloudy and 54 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling for Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan isn't giving up on becoming the next Speaker of the House. Jordan said this morning on Capitol Hill that he'll stay in the hunt despite resistance from his colleagues and losing 2 rounds of votes earlier this week.
We need to get to work for the American people. We need to do what we said we were going to do. We need to do what we told them we were going to do when they elected us and put us in office. And frankly, we can't do that if the House isn't open.
A third vote is scheduled on the House floor later this morning. But for Jordan, once again, he doesn't appear to have the necessary support. An Army private who fled to North Korea is being charged with desertion. Private Second Class Travis King was kicked out of North Korea in September, 2 months after he ran across the heavily militarized border with South Korea where he was stationed. Before entering North Korea, King was scheduled to face discipline charges for another reason. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
Hammer Nigel here for Window Nation. Fall is the best time of the year. There's so much to love about the fall, especially the return of Window Nation's best offer of the year. Get 2 windows free for every 2 you buy. Put no money down, make no payments, and pay no interest for 2 years. If your old windows are hard to open and close or drafty and leaky, take care of it now before the cold weather arrives. You'll be loving the new look and feel of your home, plus up to 30% off your energy bills.
You'll also love Window Nation's knowledgeable exterior designs and quick, clean, accurate, professional installation. Not to mention, you'll love the savings with this fantastic offer. Put no money down, no payments, no interest for 2 full years. And for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows for free. But this offer will disappear as fast as the leaves on your maple tree. Call Window Nation right now. 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Maintaining your furnace or air conditioner got you worried? Join B&W's Premier Club.
See all the perks at B+W.com. B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
459 Barber Lounge, the #1 choice for men's haircuts in Indiana on 86th Street across from the Fashion Mall. 459online.com. Tell them Tony Cat sent you.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
The phone number, 317-684-8444, if you'd like to contribute. So we start off, it's Kendall and Casey at 10:34. What are you laughing at?
You ever look something up on the internet and it pulls up as you start typing it in, things that you have typed up before?
Autofill?
Yeah. That you've typed up before for your search history.
Mm-hmm. What did you do?
Oh my gosh. So the Rolling Stones played, their new album comes out today, and they did some concert last night in Manhattan, like some select, hey, it's all these celebrities are going to be there and we're going to get up and play some old song. It wasn't like a 2-hour concert. They're playing like 5 or 7 songs or whatever. And so I was looking at these photos of Mick Jagger, and he's still doing the Mick Jagger thing, strutting around stage. I'm thinking, my gosh, he looks really old. How old is Mick Jagger?
He's 80.
He's 80.
Yeah.
But I started typing in Mick Jagger in the engine search, and the last thing I'd looked up that began with Mick was Mickey the Beeper King. And it just made me laugh.
Oh, from the old commercial.
Yes, Mickey the Beeper King. Those of you who lived around Indianapolis for years remember Mickey the Beeper King, his famous line, I'm Mickey the Beeper King. I sell pagers for $1.19. Mickey was a fairly well-fed fella, and he would embrace his well-fedness by, like, he put himself in a phone booth one time, or he's riding on a rocking horse, so that just made me chuckle, because Mickey the Beeper King is just a staple of my childhood, and
Isn't that something? You're over there looking up Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones, and I'm over here looking up what Hakeem Jeffries said about Jim Jordan. Hakeem Jeffries called Jim Jordan a clear and present danger to our democracy. Yeah. And keep in mind, this came just hours after Joe Biden, Hakeem Jeffries president, called for an end to petty, partisan, angry politics.
Isn't it interesting? I know we're supposed to be doing voicemails right now, but whatever. I'm sure there's fabulous things we'll get to in a second. Isn't it interesting? My wife and I were talking about this the other day. Isn't it interesting? My wife and I had some great conversations last night. I, of course, was totally down the line because, as I've said, there's too many people that want to get me. I'm not going down with the DUI. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just you're going to have to earn it if you're going to take me out. I'm not getting a cheapie. However, for my wife who wasn't driving, there was free wine at the event last night.
She had a good time.
We had some great conversations last night. She may remember about 3 of them.
Yeah.
Get home. I'm going to bed. Oh, I guess I'm watching the kid.
Yeah. Exactly.
Glad you had fun. These are my friends.
Yeah.
But we were talking about in one of our coherent conversations, we were talking about the things that you remember. And it is so weird as you get older, the things that you have, like, specific memories of, like, there's no reason you should remember this. And I think we've talked about this before, these specific things. Like, is there something from your younger years or your childhood or whatever that you remember and you just remember it fondly? There's no reason you should be remembering it fondly. It's just you remember it fondly. It's so wild.
Some things just pop in your mind out of nowhere. I find that I mark things with music.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You hear a song and it takes you back to a different time or a different location.
So I was just texting with my buddy Brandon Lease, who he used to play professional baseball. He now runs. How about this for a career move, Casey? And this is the American entrepreneurial spirit at work here. So Brandon was a professional baseball player, played in the minor leagues, played overseas, made a pretty good amount of money playing baseball, took all his money and put it in a tree service. Mm-hmm. And he's turned it into like this gargantuan, Trees R Us is the name of it. And he's turned this like behemoth of a tree service. They do trees all over the place.
Don't you wish you would have hopped on that bandwagon?
Well, so here's the interesting thing. When he first started, I was in college and I used to work part-time. I worked construction, and then some days I worked construction. I worked with him part-time. It was like a two-man deal. And we were chuckling because to this day, I still fondly remember us accidentally dumping a tree in a swimming pool and me telling him, idiot Rob, looking at this going, man, I think that's going in the pool if we pull this down. No, man, it'll be fine. Like, there's no rhyme or reason that I should remember that. And yet I do. Same thing with Mickey the Beaver King. There's no reason. I was like, whatever.
But did you inspire him to get into the tree business with that pool event?
He got better at it. And I will and it's just a weird thing to remember because it's like there's no rhyme or reason for it. It falls down and I'm looking because I'm on the ground. He's up there yanking the thing and it goes in the pool. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the world has just ended. And he very calmly just looks at me and goes,
it's fine.
That's why I got insurance.
Yeah.
Like Mickey the Beaver King. Why would I remember Mickey, have fond memories of Mickey the Beaver King? There's no rhyme or reason for any of it, Casey. The human mind is absolutely incredible.
Obviously, you had been planted in front of the TV or the radio with your box of Oreo cookies and spent some time hearing that commercial.
We need to have someone on this show who understands the human mind, who can explain why certain things of seemingly no relevance get entrenched in your mind and stay with you and you have fond memories of those.
Yeah, and you're pushing out relevant information that you probably need in your life because you know Mickey the Beaver.
I probably could have solved this crisis between Israel and Hamas if I had not had these just entrenched thoughts of Mickey the Beaver King. Voicemails, I'm sorry.
Do we want to get to some voicemails?
We need to because we got to find out how fat Hammer is next segment.
Oh, that's right. It is Friday. He's going to get Wade here in just a little bit. Okay, somebody called and was talking about how happy they are that you're become a family man.
Yeah.
But they also have a question for you.
Rob, I just want to commend you on your little family there you got. You're going to make a great dad and I think a great husband also too. And but the only thing is though, when you get married, you got a family and stuff, is that you ain't got much time for yourself. So I just hope you have a man cave somewhere. Maybe your studio is your man cave. I don't know, but you seem like you enjoy yourself at work. So, I don't know what you do after work, but I'm just wondering if you have any kind of hobbies, that you do at home where you can get all by yourself, and have some time for yourself.
That's cute. So, Kev, you're the music guy
this
here.
This is your hobby.
Was it Stained that did the original version of Hurt that Johnny Cash did the remake of? Is that right?
No, that was 9 Inch Nails.
Was that 9 Inch Nails? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So there's a line in that song where I'll just say Johnny Cash, but it was originally 9 Inch Nails. Everything I know goes away in the end. And last night, so this guy that works pretty well known in the State House and I were sitting there shooting the breeze, and he's in his mid-30s, and so he has 2 kids. And we were chuckling. I said, I have no idea what I did with all of my free time before I was married and certainly before I had a kid.
Yeah.
Like I know Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I know what I did with my free time.
Yeah.
I can tell you within 4 or 5 broad ripple-based businesses where all of my free time was spent. However, that still leaves Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And Casey, for a big part of that, I was self-employed, which meant I stayed up till 3 and I got up at noon and I ate SpaghettiOs for breakfast. Like, what did I do with all of this time? Because now I have none of it. And it went somewhere. It went into an ether somewhere. I have no idea where it all went.
Did you spend all that time on your phone?
I did not. And many who have listened to this.
A lot of people do.
Well, I did not have a smartphone until I was almost 30 years old.
Okay, so you weren't sitting there scrolling.
I don't know what I did. To answer his question, all I do is work, and so if I am not at this job, I go to my other job, and I am doing that to. I believe, and we've talked about this before. I am a firm believer that if the wife wants to work, great, support that. My wife has decided to continue working, but it is the man's job to provide for their family. You have made the choice to be married. You've made the choice to have a child, and it is your responsibility to provide for your family. And my wife and I have this rule. We've talked about it before. She is responsible for the expenses related to herself and the baby. Everything else falls on me. And as such,
you don't have any hobbies.
But I like both of my jobs. Like I work at the two things that I would do for free, which is radio and golf.
This is your hobby.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a lot more phone calls that clearly we're not getting to.
What do you want to do at 11:30?
Oh yeah, we could do that.
I feel like because I went on this Mickey the Beeper King
rant,
little I don't know. Was it a rant?
It was a tangent.
Well,
it was something, all right.
Who else is doing a segment on Mickey the Beeper King today? This is why people love us.
That's why we get such high ratings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do that because we got some good phone calls that we should get to.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
People called in, so we're going to acknowledge them, and we'll do that. We'll do more phone calls at 11:30. But up next, we've got Hammer. He's going to get on the scale. We'll see how his progress is going. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Reaction to Joe Biden's address to the nation. And we're going to have some fun. It's Beer Sample Friday, 93 WIBC.
Basements get a bad rap. Probably because so many of them are wet, leaky, and musty. Thanks to screenwriters, crawl spaces aren't very popular either. Michaelis is putting an end to the horror show. Their time-tested waterproofing systems eliminate and prevent water issues. Damp and moldy becomes clean and healthy. And their French drains, vapor barriers, and encapsulation techniques turn crawl spaces into a Disney set. Yeah, okay, that probably went a bit far. But with over 35 years' experience, they have a lot of homeowners enjoying their basements again. Think Michaelis. And think how nice it would be to get rid of foundation cracks, basement leaks, damp smells, and all the nightmares that come with them. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
We've created something special here in Carmel. I'm Sue Finkham, and it's here where I built my business and started a family and served as a leader on City Council, helping our community prosper and increasing government transparency. Now, we're America's #1 rated city, but we're just getting started. Lots of people talk about keeping Carmel the best city in America. But me, I'm the only one with the plan and experience to do it. I'm Sue Finkham. It's simple. Prioritize public safety by hiring, training, and equipping our first responders. Introduce responsible budgeting so every cent spent benefits us. And ensure development doesn't endanger our community's one-of-a-kind character.
Sue Finkham, the only candidate with the experience and vision to keep Carmel the best city in America, partnering with police to keep our community safe, and ensuring responsible development to help our community thrive.
Together, let's keep Carmel on the path to success.
On November 7th, vote Sue Finkham for mayor.
Paid for by Sue Finkham Victory Committee.
No two breast cancers are the same, and no two treatment plans should be either. At Franciscan Health, we believe in breast cancer care that's specialized to each person, with treatment plans for your specific cancer. Combining compassion, dedication, innovation, and experience, our breast cancer care looks different for everyone because it should be specialized just for you. Schedule a consultation or a second opinion with our cancer experts at franciscanhealth.org/breastcancercare.
JMV from Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens. The discounts for the big fall sale jumped to 30 to 40% off nursery stock plus 20% off all fall annuals, pumpkins, and mums. Hurry in while supplies last in the greenhouse. Container trees and shrubs can still be planted this time of year, and you save big money buying now. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road. MissM'sHomeandGarden.com. Sundown Gardens 186th and Springmill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com.
If there's anything better than getting a few of your favorite things from McDonald's, it's getting a few of your favorite things from McDonald's for less in the McDonald's app. Delicious. Order in the McDonald's app today. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
When the Colts score, so do you. Buy one Big Mac and get another on us when the Colts make a field goal. Only in the McDonald's app. Offer valid day after Colts game at participating McDonald's. Valid once per day. Must opt into rewards.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. You may be aware that online crime is a huge threat. But did you know this problem could be a great career opportunity for you? Cybersecurity experts are in high demand and well paid. You can position yourself for this specialty in months, not years, at My Computer Career, even with no prior IT experience. Learn how you can train for this rewarding career at mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
Andrea Bocelli. In Concert, presented by Stiefel. Saturday, April 13th, 8 p.m., Gainbridge Fieldhouse, with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Stephen Mercurio. The world's most romantic voice, Andrea Bocelli, in concert. On sale now at Gainbridge Fieldhouse box office.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%
Hammer and Nigel,
Biden.
Podcasts. Listen to the station live, whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
Good morning, 10:49. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hammer's in the studio. I have a question for you.
Yes.
I think I know what the answer is. Do you have any like beer in your fridge?
Have you met me?
In your office?
Yes, Casey.
I'm feeling like
on a day where we celebrate Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by the fine people at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, we do have beer in the fridge.
You mind if I take a little peekaloo in there?
Sure. Is everything all right? What's wrong?
You that desperate at 11 in the morning?
It's Friday. Why not, right?
Very good.
Okay. I didn't know if there was an underlying condition
well,
here.
No, Rob's hot take earlier was, it sucks. So why not? Have a drink.
Is that a fair condition of the country right now? It sucks.
Yes, that is an 100% fair assessment.
Yeah, I just was at a loss for words, and I was just stuck on it sucks.
Yeah.
And I thought if I'm stuck on it,
sometimes you can overthink things, right? You'll overanalyze things. Sometimes you just got to simple it down, take a look from a little bit further back. This sucks.
All right, so for those who don't know, we have new listeners all the time. You, earlier this year, in fact, it was August, 1st of August, you looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I'm literally the size of a baby elephant.
Yes.
You weighed 271 pounds, and you said, I've got to make some lifestyle changes.
Right.
You do this pretty much, it seems like every year we get on this little 3-4 month binge where you lose a bunch of weight. And then, to your credit, you are always willing and able to put it right back on.
Yes, very much so. Now, this year, this time around, this trip around the sun, I think has been different because I think I've been doing it the right way. You know, last time, because I hate you so much and I don't want to have to put $5 in the pot if I gain weight to go to you.
Yeah.
I was doing everything in my power to not gain weight, including starving myself, basically.
That's not healthy.
Not healthy. Not healthy at all.
Not healthy. Or as my wife told me last night, if I don't eat, I can drink more wine and the calories will cancel each other out. I don't think that's how it works.
You know what? She may be a brilliant woman. I'm not sure how that works. But every Friday, I'm going to come in here and I put my foot on the scale here.
Yep.
And if I tie or lose weight, boom goes the dynamite, survive in advance.
Yeah.
If I gain weight, even if it's 0.1, I have to put $5 in a virtual pot for Rob so he can blow it at the Applebee's in Brownsburg.
Okay, and I was thinking about this before you came in. I think I have been here for every time, because every time you have hit your goal of 50 pounds, you have a perfect record of being able to complete this task. I mean, when you are so fat, it sounds impressive, but when you are as big as a baby elephant, you should be able to do that. But it's amazing. You do it every single time. I mean, you're like the 76 Indiana Hoosiers of losing 50 pounds.
When the motivation is knowing I've got to take my hard-earned money and give it to you.
Yeah.
That is enough to make me motivated.
Okay, and so I think I have been in studio for every one of your conquests, because the first time you did it, it was the night show, and shockingly, Nigel was not at work when there was the Hammer and Nigel night show, and I was there.
Yes. And we've done this a couple times. And again, I feel like this time around the sun, though, I've picked up better habits.
Yeah.
It's been calorie counting. It's been meal prepping. It's, spacing things out, not eating after 8, a lot of water. I haven't been taking things away from myself.
Yeah.
I'm still drinking
moderation.
beer, still having pizza. We still do a shot or 2 or 3 during the show. But, I count it all up, and it's all been part of the plan here.
All right, so you started at 271. You're currently at 243.8. Is that correct?
Boom, boom, boom.
All right, so here we go. This would be Hammer waddling over there to this. He's not really a waddle anymore. It's more of a shuffle. I can actually, kind of, he can see his toes.
Yeah. You can tell. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Left each other on. Look at that.
Just look at it.
You know,
Look at that number.
This is doing it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not having surgery to replace things that are going away like some people in the studio. I am doing this the way that God intended.
You know, you can mock that hair transplant all you want, but as Bruce Springsteen once said, brother, I only run for the money, got no strings attached.
242.6, down 1.2 from last week.
You know what this reminds me of? It was like watching each week with your weigh-in. It was like watching the Ryder Cup this year. Every time the U.S. would go out, you'd say, this has got to be the one where they win a match, especially early on. Okay, enough of this messing around stuff. This has got to be the one. And then they just kept losing. And with you, I think every week, this has got to be the one where Fatty McFatterson over here has an undisciplined week and gains some weight.
It kind of sucks that when you think of losing, you think of the U.S. Ryder Cup team, but you're right.
You'd like to introduce him to say that he weighed as much as a baby elephant, right?
And again, all joking aside, the fact that you can do this every single year is indeed very, very, very impressive.
Well, I'm hoping I don't have to do it moving forward, though.
Did you hear what they named the elephant? They named the baby elephant at the zoo.
Oh,
at the
did they name
zoo.
it Hammer?
They named it
Rosie.
Jabari Hammer.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, I expect this kind of crap from Rob. I expect a little bit more professionalism out of you. You know what? I don't have any beer in the
You
fridge
look
in the
great.
back.
You look fantastic, Hammer. Keep up the great
being
work.
that mean to somebody then going, may I have some of your alcohol, please?
I just called you a fat baby elephant. Now shut up and hand me a beer, Tubby.
Hey, who's the great? We were talking about Mickey the Beeper King last segment, and we've kind of delved into this before. Who is the greatest commercial spokesman in Indiana history? Who is it? Is it the Watson's Girl?
Watson's Girl, I think, is number one, followed by Marvin Johnson with Vince Gainey.
Is he above Don from Don's Guns?
Oh, Don's Guns, man. Boy. Don's Guns is pretty strong.
That's what I'm saying.
Pretty strong. Remember old Dave Needs the Money? Dave Mason?
That's right.
That's a strong one, too.
Now, Bob Rohrman wasn't local, even though he had a local dealership, but that Bob Rohrman was pretty...
Boy, Don from Don's Guns is...
Can you
if he's not number one, he's one.
Can you imagine the national final between the Watson's Girl and Don of Don's Guns?
I've known both of them.
Maybe that's Monday. Maybe we'll set that up for the audience. Maybe. What's coming up this afternoon?
Beer Sample Friday. I've got beer in my fridge in case he's not getting any of it.
Thanks, Hammer. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Somebody that I believe is going to be your next senator from the great state of Indiana, which I love so much, Jim Banks.
This is Donald Trump Jr. with an important message. My father and I have both endorsed Jim Banks for the United States Senate. Jim is a pro-Trump conservative, a fighter, and one of President Trump's strongest warriors against the swamp. Jim served our nation overseas in Afghanistan and will always fight to put America first. He's been a leader on securing our border, standing up to China, and ending wokeism in the military. When President Trump is back in the White House, he's going to need proven warriors fighting for the America First agenda in the U.S. Senate. So please support our good friend Jim Banks. America Leadership PAC is responsible for the content of this message, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americanleadershippac.org.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Binges, blackouts, regret, shame, trying and failing to drink less or quit. Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of OrHealth. I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggled with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life. But I also know that it is possible to drink less or quit. And medication can help. Naltrexone is a safe, effective medication that makes it easier to cut back or quit drinking, so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. I started OrHealth to make access to naltrexone convenient and private to help people like me regain control over alcohol.
If you're ready to stop drinking or just drink less, text WILL to 323232 to get a secure link to OrHealth's private online assessment. Our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word WILL to 323232 to get started today. That's WILL to 323232.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
There is still time to get a patio this fall with Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. No subcontractors ever. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
Coming up in 2 minutes, 2 collisions involving people walking on the street, one of them a hit and run, plus Harrison Silcox reports on a now convicted killer. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
The House is about to try to elect a speaker again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Jim Jordan is the most popular Republican congressman in America. He inspires our voters. He can lead our conference.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, less popular after leading the small Republican group that ousted Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who's on the House floor now, urging his colleagues to vote for Jordan. But 22 other GOP House members voted against Jordan in the prior vote. And Congressman Dan Crenshaw, who also backs Jordan, says those lawmakers will not give in to the threats and intimidation they're getting.
Nobody's been a target of crazy online backlash like me.
But Crenshaw tells Fox,
what I'm seeing against these members and their families and the things being said by right-wingers, that's different.
Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, remains the Democrats' choice for Speaker.
We recognize that Jim Jordan is a clear and present danger.
And without a speaker, the House cannot act on the military aid President Biden's asking to help Israel fight terror and Ukraine battle Russia.
We cannot and will not let terrorists like Hamas and tyrants like Putin win. I refuse to let that happen.
Now, as Israel's war rages against Hamas, a 14th day, troops have been told by the defense minister to get ready for an imminent ground invasion of Gaza. Fox's Mike Tobin reports near the border it'll be in 3 stages.
The first one will be military, like we're seeing now. He says it's going to get more intense and it's going to take a long time. The second stage will be lower intensity, targeting pockets of resistance. And the third, the way he described it, really involves disengaging from the Gaza Strip, the point where Israel won't be responsible for water, power, and crossings.
Food and fuel is in low supply in Gaza for the Palestinians sheltered there, but the aid Egypt is readying has not been allowed in yet. Weeks after North Korea sent an American soldier who fled there back to the U.S., Travis King is facing numerous charges, including desertion and possessing child pornography. King went to North Korea in July to avoid Army discipline after he was jailed in South Korea on assault charges. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Looking for a driver. It's 54 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. 2 people hit and killed by cars on opposite sides of the city overnight. They were within an hour of each other. The first was on the west side, just after 11 o'clock along Rockville Road between Girls School and Country Club. The driver stayed at the scene of that collision. Then not long after that, on the southeast side near Villa and Pleasant Run Parkway South Drive, a man was hit by a car there and he too was killed. The driver fled from that collision, though police are looking for the driver. A man arrested in a fatal stabbing from 2021 has been convicted of murder. Harrison Silcox.
IMPD found Jamel Perry and Dominic Patton stabbed to death in separate rooms of a home December 15th, 2 years ago. Detectives learned Jamie Wells showed up at an acquaintance's home with bloody clothes and gashes on his hands. He was seen on security cameras preparing to leave for Gary, Indiana. 4 days later, Chicago police and U.S. Marshals arrested him on an unrelated warrant. Wells was charged with murder, and investigators say DNA analysis found Wells's blood at the scene and on the victims. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
In Fort Wayne.
We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen.
Unexpected indeed, as the Delphi murder case will no longer be tried in January. That's because Richard Allen's defense team has resigned from the case. Allen is accused of murdering Abby Williams and Libby German in 2017. Judge Fran Gall announced that Allen will need a new public defender. His previous team resigned because of an evidence leak. A drug bust in Indianapolis made by Metro Police and the Indiana Crime Gun Task Force. It was on the south side Thursday. Among the loot, a few pounds of pot, hundreds of pills, and several illegal guns, all of which the perps were intending to sell, say police. It's not clear yet how many arrests were made. You can expect a little bit warmer than usual winter this year.
We're mainly being influenced by the ocean conditions known as El Nino, and typically during El Ninos, we are warmer than normal and drier than normal, and so that's what we're sticking with as our outlook.
Chad Swain with the National Weather Service. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indy, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indy. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 20th. It's 5 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. There's a new Bloomberg morning consult poll out, and it says that Donald Trump holds a lead over Biden among voters in 7 key battleground states. Those states are Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Trump is leading Biden by 4 percentage points.
You mean he leads until midnight, and then the ballot counting gets shut down, and then magically the next morning he's losing. Yeah.
It changes.
Well, and polling is interesting for us to talk about, and people get, intrigued by it. So we talk about it. It's, of course, just a snapshot of a moment in time. Mm-hmm. But at least according to this poll, and again, Bloomberg is not Breitbart or Newsmax or Fox. Well, Fox News polls aren't all that friendly to Trump, but it's not some radical right-wing organization. You're not always going to say, well, they're totally in the tank for Trump. And so what's interesting is in all of these states, he is leading.
Yeah.
So it is a trend, right? We're seeing this in multiple states that Trump is leading. Now,
he's leading in Georgia.
Where he is about to be on trial.
Mm-hmm.
The question, so there's 2 things. One, it does not take in for the mass mail-in unaccountable balloting that many of these states have. And like in a place like Pennsylvania, which is on this list, you're talking Trump's going to be down hundreds of thousands of votes. Mark my words, when the early votes come in 2024, because you have no idea who's sending in. It's a joke. So he's going to have to account for that. Also, what is interesting to me is how much does this change if you were to put the name Robert F. Kennedy Jr. into the equation?
Oh, right, because he's not in this poll.
Now, he came out the other day for reparations, which is going to just crush him.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think
that seemed like a big misstep.
Here's the issue that we're going to have with Kennedy. Now, his name is Kennedy, and we've talked about how there will be people who will be loyal to that. He is very, very, very beloved on many things like medical freedom, vaccines, etc. However, once regular people actually get to know some of his extreme views on the environment and some of his views on things like the reparations, he's not going to be nearly as popular as people are led to believe that he's going to be, because no one knows about where he actually is on stuff. It's just, oh my gosh, it's Robert Kennedy's son and he's a good looking guy, and he goes on all these shows and he gets softball questions, and he's pro medical freedom. But I would be interested to know, once Kennedy, who is clearly going to be running for president, he will be on the ballot in all 50 states. Once he is put into this equation, how does this poll actually look?
Okay, so in these 7 swing states, 49% of the voters said that the reason that they're leaning towards Trump is because of Bidenomics.
Yeah.
However, this poll was done, I believe, before October 7th. So I'm really curious about what's going on in Israel, how that's going to start affecting the polling, because 3 out of 4 Americans support Israel in the war against Hamas. But according to another poll, let me pull that one up. It's from YouGov. It says most Americans disapprove of Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas war, 56-44.
Well, there's nothing Biden's going to do in any part of his presidency that you're going to go, wow, that was really sharp. I can't believe he pulled that rabbit out of his hat. That's going to just skyrocket him up in the polls. The Democrats are going to run on the campaign of fear and intimidation. The whole thing is going to be, if you, it's going to be the pro-abortion crowd. The problem with things like Ukraine and Israel is it takes these fringe issues that the Democrats try to make the issue
and pushes them down.
Right. It pushes them down. Now, I'm not trying to say that abortion is not an important issue. Clearly it is. But I'm saying in terms of issues that the majority of Americans put front and center, it's just simply not one of them. Polling shows that. There are many Americans, it is their issue. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm saying is, in terms of, if you look at polling of collectively, that is not a front and center issue. The Democrats try to make it that sort of issue because they can motivate people to vote for Biden who have no other reason to vote for Biden. This stuff, though, these international issues, et cetera, take all the oxygen out of that, and so it hurts Biden.
Well, you know what? But you also had Kevin McCarthy, when he's talking about Speaker of the House, like, we need a Speaker of the House now because of Israel.
Right.
So he's, the Republicans are using it as well.
Well, they are, but what I'm saying is there's nothing Biden's going to do with Israel, even if Israel is successful, that is going to make it better for him, because people see and hear these press conferences that he gives. They hear the stuff on Air Force One where he's dawdling incoherently and there's anyways, and he trails off. And then when he is forming coherent sentences, he's telling Hamas, you need to aim better. And people are just like, dude, you are the worst at everything.
Well, and a lot of people are very concerned about his request to Congress about the $14 billion for Israel, the $60 billion for Ukraine, because he's still asking for more money for Ukraine, the $10 billion for humanitarian aid, the $7 billion for the Indo-Pacific, the $100 million for Gaza, the $14 billion to process illegals faster at the border, which he should have been on top of that a long time ago. But a State Department spokesperson even came out and says that there are legitimate concerns that the Hamas terrorists are going to divert that $100 million aid package intended for Gaza and the people in Gaza and give it to the terrorists.
What?
I mean, duh.
What?
Did they pinky swear on it?
I think the concern the Israeli government has, and they've said this publicly, and they certainly said it privately to us, is that any assistance that goes in will be diverted once it's inside Gaza. That there's not an Israeli military force in Gaza. There's not a UN peacekeeping force in Gaza. The people with guns inside Gaza are Hamas, and so Hamas may try to divert this assistance and keep it from getting to the civilians who it is intended for. We think that's a legitimate concern. We've made clear that this aid needs to go to innocent civilians and not Hamas. We're going to be watching very carefully how it's delivered because we want to be sensitive to those concerns, which we share.
This is like saying I'm very concerned that when Kev goes to the Franklin Townie bar on Saturday night, he might be drinking. I mean,
right. That's what he's going to do there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you send money to Hamas, they're going to use it to blow things up and kill people.
Yeah. I mean,
what?
Giving them another $100 million of U.S. taxpayer money. It's our money he's sending over there. It's the sort of appeasement that is making people disenchanted with him.
But the money doesn't mean anything to him, nor does it mean anything to anyone anymore. It's just numbers on paper. It's like literally a real life. It's turned into a real life version of Monopoly. Oh, Boardwalk costs how much? Okay, cool. I'll buy that. Oh, there's a hotel on there? Oh, sure, no problem. Oh, what? I went bankrupt? Well, I guess I'll just start the game over and play again. It's all made up anymore. It's the real life version of Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the game's made up and the rules don't matter.
So the U.S. State Department has issued a new worldwide caution to Americans traveling around the world as things rage on between Israel and Hamas. I know that you would never leave the country, but does that, I don't know, does that concern you at all, a worldwide caution?
Well, I mean, caution to what? Hey, it could be dangerous out there. You better be alert. Well, I mean, what is that? A worldwide caution? What does that mean?
Pay more attention?
But to what? Like if you choose to leave the country,
wait, that's on you?
Shouldn't that be on your front and center every time? Like I'm in a country where I don't have basic rights or freedoms that I do. I mean, I have no idea why anyone would leave the country right now. Leave the country, period. But, I on my tombstone, it will say, proudly never left this country.
So it's...
Did not die in international incident, got what he deserved on U.S. soil.
So thankfully, we have the State Department to give us these warnings. This one came just 2 days after they issued an advisory for Americans to not travel to Lebanon.
But remember, they did this when Bush was president after 9/11 for like 2 years, where it's breaking news. Now it's an orange level. What does that mean? Well, you need to be orange level of concern. Now it's yellow. You need to be yellow level of concern. What does that mean? You need to be yellow level of concern. None of it makes any sense, Casey. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. They just pull it out of their ass as they're going along.
So here's another foreign policy screw up, though, from the Biden administration. And this one I find upsetting because they should have known better.
Yeah.
And not only did they have those 13 Marines killed in that botched Afghanistan withdrawal, but they're also they were doxing the Delta Force and publishing their faces.
Yeah.
This is the White House media team out identifying the Delta Force with this image. It had hundreds of thousands of views, and then they pulled it down. They removed the post, but like, these are the people that are going to go in and try to save Americans, save hostages, and the buffoons that are running the press in the White House are putting their faces out there. They're putting these people in danger.
Now, your broski is pretty involved in service to the country, right?
Yes, he's very involved.
Yeah, I would be curious. Have you talked to him about how he feels about something like this? Because I think he would probably have a very hot take, given his experience in service to the country.
Oh, I'm sure he has a real hot take on it. I'm going to be spending some time with him coming up.
How exciting!
So I'll get lots of hot takes and information from him.
Show research, right?
Yeah, show research. That's it exactly. So, I mean, I have to imagine that he is just beside himself.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. I'm just going to hit you with this like right now.
Yeah.
In case he has no idea I'm about to ask this question. Look, you should.
I can't out anybody or what their position is.
See the look on her face. Like there is terror.
Well, because it's part of protecting. I mean, like this is my brother we're talking about. Yeah. And while I would love to tell our listeners what he does and what his daughter does and what his wife does, I'm not going to out them for their safety.
Casey, all I was going to ask you, settle down, woman. Settle down. Woman, stop.
But our own president can't do that.
Yes, we understand, but
go ahead.
I am far more competent than Joe Biden, Casey.
Clearly. Okay, go ahead.
All I was going to ask you
where we're going
was, did we have enough voicemails to do 2 segments of voicemails, or do we want to wait till 11? It turned into some rant.
You went in a totally different direction.
If I want to be yelled at for doing nothing wrong, I'll just go home, Casey.
Are you kidding me? She doesn't yell at you. No, we have enough for one segment.
Okay. What do we do?
We have to talk about Travis Kelce's latest admission. It has nothing to do with Taylor Swift,
yes.
Okay?
All right.
That's coming up. 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC.
Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen needs a new legal team.
Previous legal team was accused of leaking evidence.
Allen will need a public defender.
Hear the news.
President Biden addressing us from the White House,
describing Hamas as pure, unadulterated evil.
Another update is just minutes away.
Temperatures will bounce between the 40s and the 70s.
The warmer air trying to win out, but the cold air will eventually win in the end. A warm period later next week.
93 WIBC and WIBC.com. Paid for by PolicyPaul.com.
Hello, this is Policy Paul, here to answer your life insurance questions.
Policy Paul, I'm so glad I got you. Listen, I'm due any day now, and have been pestering my husband to get us a life insurance policy to make sure our new family is protected.
That's smart.
I think so, but he says life insurance is too expensive, a hassle to get, and we don't need it yet. Can you help me?
Yes, of course. This is a very common situation. The thing your husband needs to understand is life insurance can actually be very affordable. Plus, really fast and easy to get. You could get up to $500,000 in coverage for less than $1 a day.
Really?
Yeah, plus same-day coverage and no medical exam.
I'm so glad I called you, Policy Paul.
Don't let your loved ones and their future go unprotected. Get up to $500,000 in life insurance for less than $1 a day. Plus, same-day coverage with no medical exam. Just call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com to get started today. Call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com. Don't wait. Call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com now.
Every dollar matters when it comes to Medicare coverage. When you enroll with MDY's Medicare, our low-cost plans give you access to over 27,000 in-network providers. $0 primary care copay with no deductibles, plus a generous OTC allowance. Call 833-248-3906 or go to mdwise.org/MDY's Medicare. Enroll by December 7th. MDY's Medicare is an HMO/HMO POS with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in MDY's Medicare depends on contract renewal.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Citizens Energy Group invites you to Community Resource Day, giving Central Indiana's organizations a chance to connect you to the important wellness, financial assistance, and safety resources for the coming colder months. With Spanish, Burmese, Chin, and Creole translators available on site thanks to Luna. Join them from 9 a.m. to noon for free food and fun activities, including a visit from Colts mascot Blue and the Cheer Squad. Community Resource Day at 2020 North Meridian on Saturday, October 21st. Learn more at citizensenergygroup.com/CRD.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
This guy's really hardcore, highly fanatical.
And Casey Daniels.
I love her! I trust her!
On 93 WIBC.
21 after 11, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
You were like unhinged, lady.
Oh, please. Coming from you. Hey, Pot, this is Kendall.
I was
You're
just
black.
trying to ask you, like, if we had enough listener voicemails to do a segment. And Casey, if you missed last segment, just launched into some just rant about me potentially outing her brother in the government. It was
I felt the tension.
I mean,
I think I'm traumatized.
All I was trying to say was, do we have enough segments, new voicemails for 2 segments? And it was like, remember that? You ever seen the movie Field of Dreams?
Yeah.
Where they go to the James Earl Jones and Kevin Costner go to the ball game. I think it's Fenway. They go to Fenway Park.
Yeah.
And he's
dog and a beer.
Yeah, he's walking down the thing and he asks him what he wants and he goes, James Earl Jones.
I want people to leave me alone.
This whole big thing.
Think for themselves.
My favorite part of the whole movie, and he finally looks at him and goes, they're at the concession stand. No. What do you want? Oh, dog and a beer. And those guys from the concessions are just sitting there looking at him like, what is wrong with this guy? That was totally you.
You know what That's the clap.
Yeah.
When he does that.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see this article about America's best and worst fast food chains in every state?
Oh, wow.
So somebody did this survey and they found out they analyzed burgers, pizza, donuts, chicken, Mexican restaurants all across the country. And they identified this place as America's favorite fast food chain.
Like collectively.
Collectively across the country.
So they asked people, what is your favorite fast food chain?
Mhm.
Okay, very good.
And then they found out that in 34 of the states, this place was number one.
Okay, well.
Any guess?
See, this is
Since
hard.
I know you don't read the template.
I've read none of this.
I'm thinking you haven't seen this.
No. This is a perfect segment. I'm just like a listener here. Okay, so I would say my gut instinct says, because I don't know, price doesn't factor into this, right? It's not because, okay, so if price factored in, I would say McDonald's because it's universally like vanilla ice cream. However, I'm wondering, is it like Chick-fil-A?
It is Chick-fil-A.
Oh my gosh, I got it right. Yes. Okay.
Very
perfect.
good. Okay, and they also analyzed which is the worst favorite.
And then price is, again, not a factor in this.
Correct.
I might actually say McDonald's then.
I think I'm going to say Hardee's.
No, I don't think you
Does
got...
Hardee's still exist? Is it
Yeah.
still
And it's not good.
I don't think... It's Kevin's least favorite. I don't think that you would get this. It's Papa John's.
That's not fast food. That's pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I count that.
Pizza counts as fat. No, you don't count pizza as fast food, do you?
McDonald's and Burger King, they were tied for the lowest in the burger category.
Well, okay, that's what I was thinking of. So I was right.
You did pretty well. You did pretty well. Five Guys, apparently America's favorite burger joint.
That's pretty good.
Here's my thing with Five Guys though. It's so expensive.
It is so expensive.
They give you way too many fries.
Yeah, they do.
They just give you a whole sack of fries. I don't really need that much.
You could
But
die.
their shakes are really good.
Yeah, I need to try that.
You could die from just eating the French fries. I feel like you're at risk. Not like literally die, but when you eat those fries, then you've got a burger there you got to eat too.
Yeah, your arteries are clogged.
Yeah,
and it's awful.
It's just but cost was not a part of this.
So Chick-fil-A has an 85% satisfaction rating.
I could totally see that. Yeah,
comparatively,
absolutely.
Everywhere else, though. Also, did you hear what Travis Kelce said? This has nothing to do with Taylor Swift, so I figure like it's a safe topic for you.
No, but he also really annoys me. But go ahead.
Okay, so he was on this podcast, which he does with his brother. It's called New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce.
Oh, how exciting.
Of course, the football players, they need a podcast.
Yes,
because why wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about their childhood, and Travis admitted something that his mom did to him when he was little.
Oh?
Any idea what that was?
Do I want to know?
Well, let's take a listen.
She eventually got pissed and sick of us getting lost, and she put me in a
backpack?
Leash. Yeah.
Oh,
I had the
you
leash.
did the international
I was a leash kid.
symbol for backpack. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. It was a harness. You put it around your shoulders. You connect it twice.
Yeah. So you were like...
I was a leash kid.
Wow.
Just dragging my parents across the entire amusement park.
Well, first of all, I love that that's his brother, right? And he acts like he has no idea of what had took place in their childhood. So that's interesting. Two, I saw somebody... Gabrielle and I saw somebody doing this.
Did you guys have a conversation about that?
Yeah,
like
we
parenting?
laughed at it. We were chuckling about how hilarious that is that the kid is on a
leash.
On a leash.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a thing?
That's a thing.
Did you do that to your kid?
Absolutely not.
I was never a leash kid, but I've seen kids on leashes.
Yeah, this was
before.
literally, it looked like walking a dog, but it was on a child.
Yep.
Which,
I think it's like kids with ADHD or something, and they just wander off and...
It seemed kind
or
of
an
demeaning
unattentive parent.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed kind of demeaning to me.
I think so.
No,
as
I
well.
get that
maybe it's just the parents'
But
fault.
I get, as you kept saying, though, there may be kids with certain, afflictions or whatever that maybe it is hard to corral them, and if you got to go out into a crowded area or something, I don't know. But I mean, I saw that. And this kid did not look like that. This child looked very well behaved.
You think
very
this
well
could
behaved.
be a safety thing, like especially if you have multiple children that you're keeping track.
Okay,
of.
so let me ask you about this. So we have, we call it the bouncer. I don't know if that's the actual name for it.
Yeah, it's a little bouncy chair.
Put your baby in, and they bounce up and down. Olivia has reached the point now where she is so big that she can slide out of the bouncer. Well, it has a buckle system where you can buckle the kid into the bouncer so that they can stay in the. Am I doing the same thing?
Yeah, no, I think that's okay.
Is that okay?
That's safety. You're just making sure they're okay.
That's not like putting my kid on a leash, even though it's got.
I don't feel like that's the same at all.
Okay.
Because you would put a seatbelt or you put her in a car seat in the car,
okay.
right?
I just want to make sure.
But does this make you more endeared towards Travis Kelce, or does that make you lose respect?
Why would I be more endeared because this guy had a leash as a kid?
That is potentially something embarrassing about your childhood, and he admitted it. Like this is something that I went through.
No, I think he's even bigger doofus than I thought before. His stupid Pfizer commercials, doesn't he do Bud Light commercials too? I mean, it's like no. I think the guy's a complete doofus. Casey, at the risk of losing life and limb, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah. What's up, Rob?
Would you like to do voicemails when we come back?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great.
It's Kendall and Casey.
Why did you just do that the first time?
93 WIBC.
Indianapolis. With Mayor Joe Hogsett, we've made real progress. Billions in new construction, unemployment at a historic low, 700 new police, $1.2 billion in new infrastructure, hundreds of new streetlights, and thousands of college scholarships. Now Joe Hogsett is fighting the state abortion ban and to get guns off the street. But Joe knows the work isn't done. It's why he's hiring even more police, expanding community policing, and investing in programs that help keep kids out of trouble. And Jefferson Shreve, he supports banning abortion. And after getting an A rating from the NRA, Jefferson Shreve has been against any new gun laws. Jefferson Shreve is bringing Trump-style politics to Indianapolis and trashing our city. Re-elect Mayor Joe Hogsett. Steady leadership in times of change.
Paid for by Hogsett for Indianapolis.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. You may be aware that online crime is a huge threat. But did you know this problem could be a great career opportunity for you? Cybersecurity experts are in high demand and well paid. You can position yourself for this specialty in months, not years, at My Computer Career, even with no prior IT experience. Learn how you can train for this rewarding career at mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
Think you know what high energy feels like? Wait until you experience the 2023-24 Indiana Pacers.
Or a driving right side, right baseline, two-hand slam.
Indiana Pacers basketball is back, and we are ramped up.
Here's a step back three. Young fella, way to knock it down.
It's opening night presented by Kroger on Wednesday, October 25th at 7 when the Pacers battle the Washington Wizards. Get your tickets at pacers.com/tickets.
B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains. We've been in business since 1961 for a reason.
See why at B+W.com. B&W is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Is there another option? I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. House Democrats are calling for a bipartisan path forward to electing a new House Speaker. Ahead of a third Speaker vote this morning, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says,
we're seeking a bipartisan path forward that's authentic, genuine, and that we want to agree upon in good faith.
Jeffries, meanwhile, slammed Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, calling him a poster child for MAGA extremism. Jordan says he's not giving up his push to be Speaker. Over 400 Muslim and Jewish congressional staffers are calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. The Capitol Hill employees signed a letter Thursday urging Congress to back a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, as anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, and anti-Palestinian sentiment are all on a nationwide rise. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
We'll get to your voicemails in just a sec. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the last segment, we were talking about how Travis Kelce came out and said that he was a leash kid growing up. And a lot of people wanting to weigh in on this, saying that it's a safety precaution, especially for children with special needs.
So I have a very good friend who texted me, and they have adopted a couple of children from China. And he was saying that when we went over there to get them, et cetera, we had the used that because, or when they've gone back, I guess I should probably say, either way, it doesn't matter. Anyway, because this child is prone to wander off, and they said it was on the wrist with the one that he sent me.
Okay, rather than a backpack.
Yeah, the one I saw yesterday, though, I'm sure
it's
they
like
make
a harness.
Yeah, they make all sorts of different types of it. So, like we had speculated, for certain kids who have afflictions, ailments, maybe prone to, wander off, whatever, then disabilities, etc., that might be what it's for. As Kevin pointed out, Travis Kelce doesn't have any of those other than he's a moron.
Yeah, somebody said that the child has mobility yet can't wander off or be put in dangerous situations.
It was startling to see, though, and maybe it's because it looked to me like it was around the kid, like it looked legitimately like a you were walking a dog. Maybe that's what was like startling for me. Like I would think the one that my friend here sent me, it was on the wrist, so I think you could walk pretty closely and it wouldn't, I don't know, maybe it was just the appearance that kind of stood out to me. I don't know. But Kelce is an idiot.
Yeah, well, let's get to some of these voicemails. You had made a comment the other day about the humanitarian aid going to Gaza.
Yeah.
And you had...
You mean Hamas.
Hamas. And your comment was something about soldiers and in war, and they're there to win wars. And they're fighting killing machines.
The U.S. military is trained to be a fighting killing machine. We are not trained to be nation builders, which is why every time we try to do that, it blows up in our face.
Somebody called and wanted to give you another opinion on that.
Rob, you're a little bit wrong on the humanitarian side of what the military does. The military, especially the Army and the Army Corps of Engineers, and they do humanitarian efforts on all occasions that relate to the natural disasters. I typically work with the 249th Engineering Battalion, who is prime power.
Stop. He's doing the thing again. They don't listen. They don't listen, Casey. They don't listen, and nothing pisses me off more than this. What did I say? I didn't say they can't do it. I said they're not designed to do it.
Okay.
The U.S. military is designed to be a killing machine. Now, you people can be mad at me about that all they want. It's what we do best. Seek, kill, destroy. That's why do most of the stuff, it's bombs, it's guns, it's missiles. Every time we get into large-scale humanitarian stuff, Iraq, Vietnam, whatever, how does it work?
Yeah.
How does it end?
Not good. Never ending.
Exactly.
Without a complete, what is success.
People hear what they want to hear, and then they just go with whatever. I'm not playing the rest of the phone call because that pisses me off. I didn't say they couldn't do it. I didn't say they're not capable. We have great people out there who are willing to do it. How does it almost always end in this stuff? Not good, because that's not the premise of the military.
All right, this next phone call is right in your wheelhouse. Somebody talking about local government overspending.
I know how much you love the spending by local governments. I've got one for you that I've been thinking about calling you for several weeks. The Plainfield Guilford Township library that was just completely remodeled 2 years ago and looks and smells brand new, is currently being remodeled again. So I just don't understand why on earth that they would need to remodel something that they had just finished and looked brand new. Oh, that's right. The library needs to spend all the money they get from the state for real estate taxes.
And this is the laughability of the argument from people like Jim Lucas, who are like, but if we affected the property taxes, how would we fund the local governments? As though there's no wasteful spending or excessive spending or room for cutting that could possibly go on. It's either fund them to where the stuff like this guy's talking about, or it's some dystopian existence. No, there's a middle ground. There absolutely is a middle ground where essential functions can take place. But like this guy's talking about, we're not rebuilding the library, every 2 years. Like there has to be some middle ground that we can afford to keep people in their homes, yet the government can continue to function. Like there has to be a point where these two things come together.
I'm curious, is this sort of with the budget, is this a use it or lose it? Like, this money's in there, and if we don't use it now, we're going to lose it.
No. I mean, I don't know how every fund works with a library, but with property taxes, that money comes in, and it can go into a general fund, and they can use that. But if you look at your school systems, why are you seeing in almost every Central Indiana school corporation out-of-control construction projects? Because they have so much money that is flooded in the post-COVID era with these property taxes, they can just use it, and they know it's not going away anytime soon.
All right, we've got Susan Beckwith who's going to join us for our Mind Your Manners segment. But before we get to that, one last phone call.
Casey, love you. Kevin, you're cool. Rob,
thank you.
Anyway.
Thank you. Perfect. I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Susan Beckwith is next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the situation in Israel. What are the tactics they're using, the U.S. is using, and can they work? We will break it down after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Paid for by John Rust for U.S. Senate. Next year, Indiana Republicans will have the choice to pick our next U.S. Senator. But if it's up to Mitch McConnell and the D.C. swamp, we'll have no choice. The Washington elite and political insiders are trying to rig this election for their hand-picked career politician ally, Jim Banks. That's why conservative businessman and Indiana farmer John Rust has stepped up to fight for us. As a lifelong conservative, John believes we need an outsider's voice that's focused on Hoosiers. John Rust is committed to fighting the woke liberal mob, defending seniors by protecting Social Security, and creating an economy that works for middle-class families, not D.C. insiders. While Jim Banks and Mitch McConnell are focused on keeping power for themselves, John Rust is focused on putting Indiana first. Career politicians like Jim Banks are always talking about solving problems. But we can trust businessmen like John Rust to actually get the job done.
I'm U.S. Senate candidate John Rust, and I approve this message.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
We've created something special here in Carmel. I'm Sue Finkham, and it's here where I built my business and started a family.
and served as a leader on City Council, helping our community prosper and increasing government transparency. Now, we're America's #1 rated city, but we're just getting started. Lots of people talk about keeping Carmel the best city in America. But me, I'm the only one with the plan and experience to do it. I'm Sue Finkum. It's simple. Prioritize public safety by hiring, training, and equipping our first responders. Introduce responsible budgeting so every cent spent benefits us. And ensure development doesn't endanger our community's one-of-a-kind character.
Sue Finkum, the only candidate with the experience and vision to keep Carmel the best city in America, partnering with police to keep our community safe, and ensuring responsible development to help our community thrive.
Together, let's keep Carmel on the path to success.
On November 7th, vote Sue Finkum for mayor.
Paid for by Sue Finkum Victory Committee.
Liberty Mutual presents How to Be the Life of the Party.
Okay, first turn the music off. Then ask for everyone's attention. Now, tell them that you customized your home insurance with Liberty Mutual and saved hundreds. Boom! Now everyone knows you're not just a pretty face. You have some brains inside that face that know how to save hundreds on home insurance. Woo!
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com. Based on recent survey of new customers who switched and saved. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hi, this is Beth Rovazini with B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Nominate a veteran to win a free water heater, and you may win one too. Just go to veteransdaygiveaway.com.
Susan, looks like I'm losing. I'm losing my mind.
Oh, yes, it is time for us to wrap up the work week. And as we do each week, Casey, well, our audience is just not fit for decent society. And so we brought in our own expert to try to make you better humans throughout the weekend. She's former Miss Indiana. Her name is Susan Beckwith, and the segment is known as Mind Your Manners. Susan, we're doing dating etiquette this week. And look, you're lovely. You're wonderful. I do question your expertise on this topic, though, because you married Micah.
Oh, goodness. Well, it was so funny because I feel like I've really held off on doing this particular topic for a while because I haven't dated anybody in 21 outside of Micah in 21 plus years.
Now, many people would say that you should be continually dating your spouse. So, Micah, get it together.
Yes, Casey, I'm so glad that you had said that because I've been a little hesitant to talk about this topic because there's so many directions that we could go, and I have some basic kind of manners, you know, the segment from a truly etiquette perspective, and then I have some personal thoughts that I hope we get to at the end.
Let's get to the personal stuff.
All right, real quick, I'm going to just tee it off here, and then I'm going to let Susan take it from here. Does that sound good? I'm going to make an opening salvo, and then we're going to go from here, all right?
Okay.
Okay. So
in other words, you're going to drop a bomb and then run away.
No, I'm just, I'm just going to say, here
I talked to my mother this morning, and she goes, oh, goodness, it'll be interesting to see which direction they go in.
All right, Susan, so here was my approach to dating. Let's get in a room, let's drink as many Long Islands as we can, and let's see where it goes. Was that a good or a bad approach to dating?
Well, that is on my list where I put don't overindulge when it comes to alcohol as well as what you share. So, no, I don't know if I would advise that. Overindulging generally doesn't end up going well.
Okay, well then, what is the expert advice?
Okay, so these are very basic. I tried to think of things that were applicable to both men and women. Number one, do not be late. That will start things off on a poor note right from the beginning.
No respect when you do that.
Absolutely.
Casey, do you remember your first date with your husband?
I don't know if there was one, to tell you the truth.
Well, you just skipped the previews and went right to the movie, huh?
Well, much like you and your beautiful wife, we met at work.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So,
yeah, all right. So I was going to ask if you were late at your first date, but apparently, were you his boss or was he your boss?
We were neither at that time.
Oh, okay.
We weren't bosses then.
Very good.
We were young and dumb.
Okay, so always be on time, right, Susan? That's the big one.
Yes, don't be late. I feel like this next one I am a broken record, and I'm okay with it because I feel like I'm going to start a whole campaign about put your phone away because it's just causing such a breakdown of all of our relationships, and it's especially rude on a date when you're really trying to get to know someone and you want to be very intentional. So just don't even bring it out.
You know what, Susan? You know what bothers me so much about the phone? And this isn't even just dating. This is anything. This is with your friends, with your boss, whatever. When they hold the phone in their hand, and then if it rings or they get a text and they look at it and then they say, oh, no, I don't need to take that. Like, oh, you passed. I'm going to continue my conversation with you because you're more important than what's on the phone.
Yeah, they're just so distracted. I feel like if you don't even get it out, there was just a time that we functioned without them. So it's become an addiction. And I'm preaching to myself as well. But I know that I want to be more intentional with, whoever I'm talking with, my kids, my spouse, my friends, there's generally nothing that is that urgent that you have to have it 24/7.
Susan Beckwith is our guest. It's Mind Your Manners. We're doing dating etiquette today. So here was my approach to dating, Susan. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Can you handle this jelly I'm about to lay down for you?
Come on, Beyonce.
All right, here we go. So my approach to dating, especially first dates, was to ask as many questions to the person as I possibly could. That way they didn't have time to try to figure out what a complete train wreck that I was, and it actually made them think that I cared about them. How about that? Tell me about that.
Well, that is on the list as well.
Nice way to hide your issues, Rob.
Yeah, no, you do want to ask good questions, and you want to be a good conversationalist. And so the thing you don't want to do, though, is pry or really try to dig into past relationships. You want to keep it to questions where you are generally just trying to get to know one another.
It's amazing it took it so long to go well for me, given that I did all the things Susan said don't do. Don't drink excessively. Don't ask too many questions. Don't look at your telephone. I failed all of these. Susan, if I'd have met you 20 years ago, my life might have been markedly different. I failed every single one of these.
This is why Mind Your Manners is so important.
Yes.
And we hopefully help a lot of others to come.
All right, so what's next?
Okay, so this one, we'll get to the last one. The next one is so basic, but I have to say it, just using good table manners. And if you're like, what exactly does that entail? I mean, there are endless resources that you can use, but just brushing up on those. That is the way you eat and behave while eating says just a lot about your personality.
Like, don't put a straw up your nose. Don't,
I mean, just not being rude, not chewing with your mouth open. I mean, there's just a lot of gross things you can do while eating. So just brushing up on good table manners and, making sure that you're presenting yourself in the way that you want to be perceived. So, if you're like, what exactly does that entail? You can sign up on my website. I'm going to be doing a dining 101 class coming up, but there's endless resources that you could, check out so that you are prepared.
All right, you told us there was one more left.
Okay, so this is one I'm anxious to kind of get y'all's feedback on, is following up after a date. Even if, you're not going on a second date, I feel like that shows that you're a good person, that there's no intention of hurting anyone. I think ghosting is just is not good.
Yeah, so thanks for the consideration.
I just following up in some capacity. I had a lovely time, and then if it is somebody that you want to pursue another date with, then obviously that's a great time to have that conversation. But if it's not somebody that you don't, see a future with, just thanking them for, going on a date with you and that you wish them the best.
What is the time frame? Is it like the 3-day rule? You got to wait 3 days.
No, see, I feel like that's too long, but maybe I am wrong on that. Like I said, it's been 21 plus years since I've dated anybody outside of Micah, but I just feel like 3 days is a long time not to hear from them. What do you guys?
Susan, they're playing so many games now.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm glad I'm not having to deal with that.
Okay, so where did Micah take you for your first date? I don't think I know this story.
We went to the Fort Wayne Zoo.
Oh, that's a good one. See, that's plotting, because then that way, Micah, if it didn't go well, Micah didn't have to talk the whole time, and that way the animals could be the entertainment. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
We we met in college. We were students at Huntington University. So Huntington's just south of Fort Wayne. So we had a lovely time. We dated, I was almost 19. So I started dating him when I was 18. So
how long did it take you to realize this guy is totally full of it and I've been conned?
Oh, no, I was totally
21 years.
You know what really sold me on him was when he was like, love is a choice. And there are going to be days where we do not like each other, but I will choose to. And I just love that messaging because you know what? You go through a lot of seasons, you know, in your relationships. And so I love that he was like a very dedicated, you know, individual. So I was smitten from the beginning.
Okay, so you wanted to rant at the end, is that right?
I do. Okay, so
are you gonna wait? Are you gonna be mean? Because I've never seen a mean version of you. Is this like a Rob rant or is this like a Susan version of a rant?
I think I have quite your yell down, or that I don't think I would cause some issue with the speakers. I don't know if it's going to be mean. I'm sure there are going to be people that don't agree with me, but that's okay.
Perfect. We love that. Let's go.
Okay, so this may differ than, you know, the Emily Post gurus that are out there, you know, her brand. But the Belle of the Midwest brand, I have to say that I truly believe that women still want to be wooed. We want to be pursued. You know, I've been working for many, many years, so I'm a working mom, a professional, but I definitely do not subscribe to the boss babe culture. And I truly think that women still appreciate a strong, confident, masculine man. So
Absolutely.
Do the chivalrous things. I think opening doors, walk her to the door, date with intention.
I love it. Tell us about your fabulous website and Facebook page.
Okay. So my website is a great place to submit etiquette questions. I've been getting more and more, which I love. You can check out some fun blogs that cover anything from social etiquette, fashion, beauty, entertaining, all of the above. And I'm doing something fun today. So for anybody that actually subscribes to my newsletter on my website, it's super easy. It'll take you 1 minute. You will be entered into a little giveaway for a Amazon gift card.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Micah told me that he has photos of you from your Miss Indiana competition. One of those of you is you in a swimsuit of some sort, and he was scrolling through his phone showing somebody, a voter or something, and that photo popped up, and they looked at him with a weird look, and he's like, "That's my wife. Get it out of your head."
Oh, my goodness. This is a true story, and I can't believe he shared that with you. But, yes, it's been many moons ago, but I was a swimsuit preliminary winner way back with my Miss Indiana days. So he has one of those photos, and it's saved to his favorites.
Mm-hmm. It's in a special album on his phone.
Yeah.
Susan Beckwith, you can find her at Belle of the Midwest, BELLE of the Midwest.com. Also find it on Facebook as well. You're the best. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks, you too. Now, Rob, are you going on a date this weekend?
I actually am. Oh, Susan, you will love this. I'm going to dinner tonight with Tori, our doula. And Susan knows Tori very well because she works at the church.
Mm-hmm.
That's our dating these days, hanging out with people from church.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, hey, those are the kinds of people that'll keep you, you know, really investing in your marriage, which is so good. I'm so glad you said that, Casey. I was going to say something, you know, I don't feel like it's solely men that need to be investing in a relationship, but I do feel like men don't always think about those little things like flowers just unexpectedly. And the key is that it doesn't even have to be from a florist. Like those $9.99 bouquets from Kroger, you know, really work wonders. So keep that in mind.
Or, Susan, you could take your wife to Brown County for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the third ring of hell is actually like, but it probably resembles an entire day in Brown County.
No, I'm sure it
We
was
love it. Go to the Hobnob.
I'm sure it was lovely.
All right, Casey, take us home.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today and all week long. We're going to catch you back here on Monday. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
You already know our police force is now over 300 officers short, and that 800 have left the force under Joe Hogsett. But, of course, public safety is about more than police. So, did you know that Hogsett promised funding and programs to address root causes of crime? The problem is, he didn't deliver, and promises alone don't save lives. The facts are the facts. Too many Hoosiers have become statistics because Joe Hogsett can't follow through.
I'm Jefferson Shreve. Crime is about more than just police. We need to invest in mental health in ways we never have before and really help those in need. I'll double city funding to do it. We need more cops, but also better training, tools, and pay. Public safety isn't simple, but it is a keystone to turning things around. I'm not running against Joe Hogsett because he's a Democrat. I'm running because he's failed our hometown.
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
Paid for by PolicyPaul.com.
Hello, this is Policy Paul, here to answer your life insurance questions.
Policy Paul, I'm so glad I got you. Listen, I'm due any day now, and I've been pestering my husband to get us a life insurance policy to make sure our new family is protected.
That's smart.
I think so, but he says life insurance is too expensive, a hassle to get, and we don't need it yet. Can you help me?
Yes, of course. This is a very common situation. The thing your husband needs to understand is life insurance can actually be very affordable. Plus, really fast and easy to get. You could get up to $500,000 in coverage for less than $1 a day.
Really?
Yeah, plus same-day coverage and no medical exam.
I'm so glad I called you, Policy Paul.
Don't let your loved ones and their future go unprotected. Get up to $500,000 in life insurance for less than $1 a day. Plus, same-day coverage with no medical exam. Just call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com to get started today. Call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com. Don't wait. Call 800-805-4706 or go to PolicyPaul.com now.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zerorez, and you and I both know that the carpets and floors don't clean themselves. And in fact, they can get so bad that they're way scarier than any Halloween script could imagine. How about a gentle cleaning to soothe your home into a wonderful fall retreat with the patented ZR water? Really, it's a great time to clean the carpets, and it's quick and easy to schedule online. Nobody but Zerorez has the patented electrolyzed ZR water that cleans with no soap, no harsh chemicals, and no residue to attract more dirt. They can even clean your ductwork to help you breathe easier. Duct cleaning improves the air quality in your home as well as the efficiency of your HVAC equipment. Zerorez gets all the yuck out for a fresh fall cleaning with no tricks, just great technicians skilled in thoroughly cleaning up dirt and stains.